It's that time again. Welcome to the stage. Oh yeah. Where energy and creativity collide. Here we go. Let's level up. Make this something to remember. All right.
Welcome to week 6 of the Call of Duty Varsity League. We are back with the last weekend of the regular season. I'm excited to get these games going, and I'm excited to see who's going to end on top. My name is Seymour. Alongside me, as always, week to week, is Cash. Cash, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling really good. I mean, I say it every week, and now that we're down to 2 matches instead of 4, it's hard to go wrong with some of these matchups. But tonight, as you said, it's the last week of the regular season, and we've got a lot on the line in these 2 matchups tonight.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I couldn't be more excited to get into these ones because, what we've been seeing since, week 1 to where we are now, it's just been all leading up to this moment, I feel, to start to take off into the end game now for a lot of these runs. A lot of teams now will look to step up their play styles, kind of one last ride to see where they can end off in the regular season as we go into the conference play-ins and then the conference championships. And not to think that, that's all there is to the season, because you will have another chance in the last chance qualifiers to attain a spot in the playoffs. But, I mean, this is where it all begins, Cash. This is where you need to lay it all on the line if you want a chance at getting anywhere close to the grand finals.
This is it indeed. I mean, this tonight, in between these matches, who we have, Shenandoah against St. Clair, and then we have, of course, Texas A&M International against Nicholls State University for our first 2 matches. They're ones that have the potential to dictate conference placings as far as top 3, first and second specifically go. So really exciting matchups tonight for COD that we get. And then, of course, Valorant to follow later. I mean, 2 undefeated teams in Radford University and Northwood Esports. Again, 2 amazing matchups here for COD, another great one for Valorant to follow, and again, so many implications on the line that I can't wait to dive into.
The cream of the crops of the matchups that you could be seeing tonight, just throw matches 1, 2, matches 3. But, I mean, I think all eyes for a lot of these players will be on that first match of the day, Shenandoah versus St. Clair College. Both teams undefeated, both teams looking for that number 1 spot in the Eastern Conference, and I think St. Clair, being that team that has made deep runs in the playoffs with this roster of 6 that they have attained going into this new season, can they really cement themselves as the best inside of their conference and finally make a run to a championship here in Call of Duty, being the end of the Vanguard season and MW2 right around the corner? I mean, this is going to be one heck of a matchup going on versus Shenandoah. But I do want to give a thank you to our sponsor, ROTC, for helping put all this on as well. We'll talk more about them later on. We can talk about the prizings right now. Our scholarship prizings, $2,000, $1,000, and $500 that we're looking at.
A great pricing to play for. That's kind of been the tale of season, right? The scholarship money is also at the end of the season to look forward to, on top of, a chip, on top of just being the best program here at the Star League. And so much on the line for these schools to play for. And again, so much going into these matchups tonight. Shenandoah University, St. Clair College, our first matchup. You were kind of shaping it up, right? 2 undefeated squads where, again, St. Clair, you haven't dropped a map yet this season. I mean, we're at the last week of regular season and you're undefeated, including map count, which is crazy. Shenandoah looking to do a little bit of damage themselves, but if you are a first-time viewer here, we'll go over this COD League rule set for you. So it's a best of 5 games to win the series tonight. Our map pool that we're working with is Berlin, Bocage, Desert Siege, Gavitu, and Tuscan. And we're at the tail end of the season, right? A lot of people are familiar with what we have going on. Some of these map pools and map sets that we get with these matchups tonight are going to look really just traditional and run-of-the-mill, especially in these, high caliber matchups that we have between these teams. But going over these rosters, Shenandoah University, they're going to have it Steve-O, Toxic, Mossman, and Relic tonight. And then, of course, for St. Clair College, Priestley, Brandon, Relays, and Bendy. A squad that's been different week to week for the side of St. Clair.
Yeah, and from what I understand, we're going to actually get a substitute for Shenandoah University. Instead of Mossman, we're going to be looking at Sid on the roster for today. So seeing how that can shape up over for the Hornets. But, St. Clair, two players that you and I haven't really seen yet, Relays and Bendy. I was talking to Zarin, the coach of the Saints, just ahead of this game, and he mentioned to me, Relays coming from Latin America onto the St. Clair College team. Probably what he thinks is the best player on the team right now, and really earning his spot on this Saints roster towards the end of the regular season. I think we talked to him last week, and he was mentioning that a lot of those players were looking for their spot on the roster for this game in particular versus Shenandoah, probably most important on their docket throughout the regular season. Now we get to see, what is quote-unquote the best St. Clair roster today within their deep pool of 6. Can the Hornets take that down? Well, we're going to have to see with the substitute of Sid.
We will have to see if that's something that can kind of spring life into the squad. Again, you don't know what the substitution's for, whether it's by choice or maybe they just had to make the sub here last minute. But either way, I mean, for St. Clair, it is the toughest matchup of the season so far. And it's one that, again, if they 3-0, they haven't dropped a map this entire season. If they 3-0, I'd be really shocked because, Shenandoah's a good school now. Of course, they've been pushed to the limit one time this season and having a game 5 against OTSU. And here, they dropped a map against Shawnee State as well a couple weeks back. So a squad that's still undefeated nonetheless, but has been tested here in the regular season already. St. Clair, another one of those for them. And again, diving into kind of what's on the line for these teams tonight, looking over this map set, it's that first and second place in the conference. They really are those top squads, and well, one of them's not going to be undefeated after tonight, and we're going to kick things off on a Bacage.
Oh yeah,
getting Mixie off the rip, going to a Berlin S&D, double Tuscan for maps 3 and 4 to close out our respawns, and if needed, Desert Siege for our game 5 search and destroy. A solid map pool, I think.
Yeah, solid map pool. You can see that Shenandoah, they get picks 1, 3, and 5. I really hope we get to Desert Siege. I haven't seen a Desert Siege yet throughout the
I haven't either.
the fall season. So I'm hoping that, we get all the way down to a game number 5. But first, we got to start on this Bocage. Shenandoah's map pick. They want to go to the cage right off the back. I love this pick because, a lot of times when you're playing against a team who hasn't even dropped the map, you want to make things a little uncertain. And I think Bocage is exactly where you want to go for that case if you are the Hornets. However, we did see the Saints on this exact map versus Old Dominion last week, and they smoked Old Dominion in map 1.
Did.
So, I don't think this is a sure thing that you're going to win if you're Shenandoah, but this is, the biggest test between both of these teams going up against each other. So, no doubt in my mind, I'm expecting a close game 1.
I am as well, and Bacage, it feels like whatever team can get out ahead slaying first can put the other team, it can throw off everything from timings to rotations, everything around the map if you get out to a big slaying advantage, because the map plays so small and so fast on engagements that you're coming off spawn and taking gunfights, and if you're the team that's having to come up off spawn ready to take a gunfight, it throws off everything. So I think if you're Shenandoah, I think you're at a disadvantage in this map number 1, given the slaying prowess of St. Clair, but the same thing you were talking about, by the same token, add an advantage because it plays Mixier. If they can survive these first couple of hills and not get slayed out entirely, even if the scoreline plays close, I think this is definitely going to go down to the wire. But again, you have to keep up with this team in St. Clair in the slaying department more so than anything else. I know the score matters at the end of the day, but on a map like Bacage specifically, you have to keep up in slaying, and if they can survive the first couple hills, I think they're going to be just fine.
Let's kick this off on Bocage, map 1 of the end of the regular season. St. Clair versus Shenandoah, the Saints versus the Hornets. First place on the line in this conference. Both teams undefeated reaching up to this, but a lot to prove if you're on the end of the Hornets right now trying to take down those Saints. And on the other end, it's the same thing. New roster for the Saints. Do they have that grift diff when they're going up against the Shenandoah Hornets? Let's hop into game 1, Cash. Let's kick things off deep inside the cage.
can't wait to get this one rolling, just a few seconds away from it. And I think one more point to make for St. Clair, just most impressive about this team, not only going into this matchup tonight to close out the regular season, but their season as a whole, is they've rotated in 6 players the entire season. It hasn't been one squad, yet they play like they've had a 4-man roster this entire time. So the team chemistry that these guys have, it's going to carry them. And, well, kicking things off with Bendy's point of view, already playing fast, already out at A-Plat, getting
Already
into the
busy.
action, but hey, Shenandoah, they're ready for it. They have the counter, and well, now they've got the hill time.
Well, it's a quick start for the Saints, but weathered pretty easily by the Hornets as they're looking to flip things out, and they do. The spawns are going to rotate in favor of the Hornets for P2, and it looks like Relay's already going to be on the menu, but it's too little too late. The players are set up. They're tearing the Saints apart, and it's a fantastic start out of Shenandoah.
It seems like we've had an all-red kill feed and followed by an all-blue kill feed
Oh,
since
no.
the opening of this map here. Again, those hill time is up for grabs, and that's what you're playing for. Really, you can tell with the way these guys are moving around the map, they're playing for map control. They want to get across, get P2 spawns, as St. Clair are able to get control of once again here. And, well, that's the position you want to be in as the hill pops. Fresh set of 60 seconds on the clock, P2 control in hand, and now for Shenandoah, you've got to get a break on. You're already down 2 off the opening break. Make that 3 and perhaps the 4th. Either way,
fast.
St. Clair College turning up the heat here on P2.
I was gonna say, such a fast start to this map too. It looks like we're playing on 2 times speed.
It
just
does.
watching these players go, but you can see that the pacing is definitely holding true to the Saints right now as they're taking their lead all the way up to 34 points. A little bit of flank coming through, but shut down by Priestley on the inside. It's going to be Relic to try to break on in. It's not going to happen as the Saints coming away with majority kills. Nobody in the hill just yet, but Brandon looking to cut these rotations off as he's going to line up 2 clean ones. Bendy knocks down a 3rd in these last 20 seconds. Looks like they're going to the Saints.
And if you're Brandon, you have full streaks already, and we're not even 2 full hills into the game. So St. Clair, again, the slaying prowess that they bring, you have 3 players over double positive already to 2 hills, and again, I know that's only a handful of kills on the map thus far, but man, the way these guys are flying around the map, they're ready for every gunfight. They're taking it to Shenandoah right now as far as pacing goes. This P3, again, I'm not saying decisive for the game, but decisive as far as how the pacing for the rest of the map goes is something that Shenandoah needs to get back under control.
And Brandon, a player that we didn't really highlight too often during the Vanguard season, during the Cold War season, as he's not really the superstar player of the Saints, but with this new iteration, the roster, he looks so comfortable, and you see him really coming into his own individually. Now Shenandoah for the break. Relic looking for a way around, cut down by Relays. It's going to be 3 down for the Hornets, making it a clean 4, as Relays now on a 4 spree of his own, looking for those streaks will be stopped by Relic before you can get any further than that. And the break from Shenandoah here for now. Can they hold on for time as they finally break double digits on the inside of Grandma's? It's where they're going to stop now for this 3rd hill.
They need to set up for a solid P4 rotation here. They've got to try to take some of these gunfights early. I mean, Brandon's already in bottom barn finding kills. They needed to find a way to zone out and slow down this push coming in from St. Clair. The pacing just a bit too out of hand for Shenandoah. They've got to find a way to find these kills, push out beyond P4, soak up some time, but more importantly, hold the St. Clair squad back. It seems like by the time they can kill anyone at the front, well, which look at that player 2 in Relays, already through the back, finding kills, just causing these players to play frantic and frazzled, and it's showing in the scoreline most of all, let alone the slaying.
Well, Saints not frazzled at all of the break into P4 as they're looking to take it back 1 by 1. Priestley's going to take down Sid. Stevo looking for a way around the outside. Bendy shuts him down, and Priestley's got us back. 3 kills go the way of the Saints. Relays looking to cut off the rotations from behind as he's going to be able to find 1 before going down. 100 points plus for St. Clair College as they are ripping and tearing their way through Bokash here in map number 1 cash. You got to look to P5 right now if you're Shenandoah, but nobody's thinking forward.
It's hard whenever they can barely get what's in front of them, and again, this is quite the scoreline to bounce back from. But even then, if you're St. Clair, you have an insurance policy in the streaks. If you find yourself in a bind, you have the ability to get streaks. Right now, they're looking a bit too cool, calm, and collected here on Bacage. I mean, 100-point lead, winning every rotation, slaying out of their mind. It's what we said Shenandoah had to be weary of coming into Bacage against St. Clair. If you want to square up on a mixy map, you have to be willing to hang with their pacing. They play so fast that if you find yourself on the tail end or on the wrong end of how quickly they play, again, look at how many times we've seen them off spawn, and someone from St. Clair is in their face. Someone is always there to greet them as they respawn into the game. And again, someone's just scooping up the scoreline, or scooping up the hill time, and that's going to be Priestley at double positive and 1.5 minutes of hill time. Can't say enough good things about how St. Clair's playing right now.
He's doing it all as Shenandoah fall deeper and deeper into the depths of this map number 1. They're going to need to resurface soon before it's too late. Bokosh, it is a map where you can turn things around pretty quickly, so, you know, not out of this just yet, I have to say to the Hornets. I've seen crazier comebacks on this map, but if they really want to dig deep into this one and find their way back into this map 1, Cash, I have to see it happen. Inside of the Slaying, Toxic, only 11 and 20. Stevo, the only player really anywhere close to positive 13 and 14. It's just not enough for the team. But plays like that out of Stevo, 5 in a row, almost getting number 6, could be what breathes life back into the Hornets.
We've got to see spawn control on top of big plays that stay in the slaying department. We have to see spawn control as well. You know, they're getting to the point where they're going to have to start chaining a couple of hills to start to cut at the score line and get themselves back in this one. They're by no means out of it entirely, but again, we've got to see a strong P2 hold. I haven't seen enough from them being aware of players, again, in their back lines. Brandon already behind them on the map and winning those gunfights to say that they can hold a hill down for a 60-second hold. A great win out of Toxic there, but someone's got to be in to fill that spot and not let them flip it from the front. 10 control for now and starting to try to get some form here on P2. Shenandoah do have a way that they can answer back, but again, finding these kills, this next push is oh so critical.
It is Stevo looking to be a nuisance for the rotation of P2, already taking up shot inside Grandma's. A couple player of the Saints has snuck through Bendy, but delays some time for Shenandoah to pick up for now as they've cut this lead down to only 100. It was a lot worse going into the second set of rotations. Stevo gets caught in the open. It's 2 down now for Shenandoah. They need to fight for this one. They cannot give it up so easily. Sid in a position to really spell trouble for the Saints, but playing so passively. Nobody in the hill for the Saints collecting this time. Sid finally gonna get spot out. Brandon sniffs him right out of the back line. 24 seconds to pick up. Relic looks like he wants to take another shot at this one as the players for the Hornets starting to group up, but they just get picked off again and again. Relays it, Brendy playing that front line to perfection right now, Cash.
They are, and Shenandoah has so much importance on keeping spawns for P2 that Sid never left 10 to pick up hill time, so 20 seconds of hill time went free. And if you're St. Clair, you're going to take that every day of the week because it means Shenandoah isn't carving away at this lead. Now they're still at 70 points. You had majority control of that hill. No one was able to get hill time though because St. Clair was constantly coming through barn, flooding through the front, putting pressure on this team to get on the hill. No one was able to do that. They were trying to keep spawns and it didn't amount to anything there. Another 2-piece popped in order to break into P3. Spawns on the right hand side of your map. St. Clair having their way and then some here in map number 1. It's going to be a scary series here if St. Clair are playing seemingly this electric.
Well, here's the collapse for the Hornets to break into the hill. For now, it's successful. A couple of Saints players going to throw their bodies into this one. Priestley, Bendy on the inside, lined up by Toxic. Now it's Relays' turn to get into this, to get Mixie. He's got Brandon on his wing, and it's going to be 2 kills to break on in through Shenandoah. They pierce right through the heart. Silver lining for the Hornets. You can't win it here if you're the Saints, so we are going to be going to a hill number 4, back to barn, but look at that rotation all the way through the deep back. It's Brandon. It's always been Brandon in your back line. Bracely's going to find the kill. Brandon pulls the spawns. Saints now looking for the dub.
25 seconds away from doing so. A must break for Shenandoah, already getting traded out here on their first push, opting to go through mid-map and bottom grandma, seeming to be their only route, and starting to find a couple kills, but again, not equating to hill time. But that's not going to be enough. You have to keep St. Clair off of this for quite a bit of time if you want to win this one. It feels like the inevitable. We're just postponing that St. Clair at any moment can get back into this and finish this game out, but for the time being, Shenandoah, they get a good break. They're holding on to this time, and they're finding some kills in sequence around it.
Yeah, this second set of rotations has looked a lot better than the first set. Still a ton of mistakes coming through from Shenandoah, so nowhere close to bringing this game back just yet. As you see, Saints, it's easy to get back into this. 4 wiped off of the Shenandoah board for that 4th hill. It's a race over to P5. You see in the backline, Parisi going to take that fight. Beautiful shots by Sid to back him down, and Stevo for the cleanup. So first ones to the hill will be Shenandoah. We didn't get this in a P5 last time around. The Saints looking to evict them from behind. A player rotating through the tunnel. It's going to be Brandon to find the first kill. Stevo trades it out. Now on the inside, things about to get a little bit mixy for Stevo. It's relayed over the top with Priestley backing him up. The break in for the Saints, only 6 points needed. Sid's going to line up 2 to keep them away for now. Shriek getting called in from St. Clair College. Brandon's going to get Sid in the tunnel. 3 go down. Make it 4. The Saints looking for a map 1 win here and now. And it looks like they've paved their way to get it done. 1 point needed, and there it is. St. Clair College Bocage. It's their home.
And Shenandoah played that P4 and P5, getting at least 50 or so seconds off of it, stopped them from getting clubbed. I mean, that scoreline, though, still a 125-point deficit. Definitely looked a bit better there because of some work Shenandoah did at the tail end. But, I mean, that was St. Clair's game from start to finish. I can't even take away from that. The slaying, that again, that's just something on Bocage with this team specifically where if you can't keep up, they turn that pacing up to 11, and like you said, it feels like you're watching the game at 2 times speed, and that's so hard to combat on a map where engagements are so high. I mean, Priestley here in the mid game on a 4 streak, looking to add on to that. I mean, 120-point lead, always snapping around to the next lane, the next place a player could be coming from, and they were ready for everything there. Didn't look phased at all. We said this is the hardest matchup of the regular season, and after map number 1, I mean, for them, it's looking like just a walk in the park.
I mean, it just looks simple. It was almost a 100-point difference after the first set of rotations.
Yeah.
It took everything out of Shenandoah just to get 10 points on the board. And you can see the second set, it was a lot cleaner out of the Hornets, but it wasn't enough. You know, in the slang and the rotations and the pacing that St. Clair had, it just seems that they were one step ahead the whole time throughout that Bocage, which is surprising because that was Shenandoah's map pick. And St. Clair smoked them on it. Going into map number 2, we're headed to Berlin, now search and destroy. This is St. Clair's map pick. And if they're going to be playing as brawly as they did in that Bocage, as up close and in your face as we saw in that map number 1, this is going to be a scary map too, because Berlin, you know, a map with so many nooks, so many corners to hide in, and places that you could just jump out and take a couple gunfights. This is something that you can definitely see a roster like St. Clair shine on.
Absolutely, and I think my more pressing concern is Brandon. I mean, on Bocage, he was constantly in their back lines and flanking. I can't imagine how Berlin S&D is about to go if they aren't able to pick that up. I think that's got to be, if not priority number 1, a top priority here off this opening break, figuring out where Brandon, their route man for St. Clair, is going to be playing. Is he hitting routes, you know, defensively, trying to push through warehouse and to hit a flank, or offensively, is he trying to do the same thing through fire to get in our back lines? Find a way to, again, Shenandoah does have a lot of things they have to work on here in this Berlin to, you know, find some rhythm and footing in this series. But again, the flank was something that was constantly costing them spawns on Bocage, and let alone trading ability, which again picked up that second set of rotation. So I know they have the ability to do it, but that flank is kind of at the top of the list right now, figuring out where Brandon is at the map and knowing where he is at all times.
Well, here we go. Map number 2. The Hornets, they're looking to take St. Clair's map pick now, but I mean, Coach Zarin, he said it last week. Players were fighting for their spot onto the roster here for the Saints going into, you know, what was on paper their toughest matchup of the regular season. Cash, map number 1, it was a walk in the park for the Saints. Map number 2, now their map pick. They're seeing if they can double down and keep up with that pacing. It's going to be a tough one for Shenandoah to bounce back here, but if you're looking at their point of view, it's going to be one step at a time. Going into round 1, I mean, you have to focus on a few things. I mean, maybe shutting down Brandon's flanks, maybe putting a lot of focus onto that frontline attack that you're getting out of Repulsed and Bendy. You find a couple of first bloods, you transition through the mid round to take that life advantage. This is something that's doable. Search and destroy is always something that's doable for the teams that want to slow things down and play it one step at a time. And Shenandoah, they got to dig into this one and see if they can deny Saints of match point.
It is something they have to dig deep and do, because this is the end of the regular season. It only gets harder from here on out. So for Shenandoah, got to see the bounce back ability out of them here in map number 2 after a bad map 1 loss. And Bendy, not going to make it that much easier. Already down to a man disadvantage. They know just one other player crossed to A. Should be a simple gunfight. Brandon takes that. And oh, would you look at that? It's going to be a free A bomb plant. Both players before 30 seconds tick off the clock. Already in a 2v4.
Yeah, Toxic used the double stun to go down too. So St. Clair, their set plays to take control of A was just lights out, with Bendy opening up with that boomstick as well. Now for the post plant, 4 players to 2. A distinct advantage when you're looking at this. Shenandoah without the favor, they're going to have to find a couple of freebies here and, you know, absolutely turn up. inside of this round. 25 seconds to make it happen. Nobody has found their way into the offices just yet for the Hornets. St. Clair yet to take a gunfight. They're just sitting pretty on the inside. Priestley, or it's going to be Bendy. First off is the recover to Automaton for the kill onto Sid. Steve-O climbs back with the kill, but there's only 11 seconds left, and this is a sure thing for a Saints round 1.
And this is a squad that doesn't just throw away lives. I mean, you were able to find a couple of kills there at the tail end, but there was no time left to work anything. St. Clair, they played their lives and their situation so well that if you're going to clutch a 2v4, you're going to have to earn every single kill, like you were even saying. Great opening round from St. Clair College. You saw even the coordination out of the set piece for their A push. Fantastic from them to get things going here in map number 2. And I mean, for Shenandoah, I guess the one thing you can take is, yeah, you got some kills on the board, but even then, no streaks to even look forward to behind Steve-O's 2 kills as he got chopped down there. So you're just going to try your hand offensively to answer back and see what St. Clair bring out defensively.
Looks like the offense now for Shenandoah. They want to dip those over towards B. St. Clair, a lot of information right off the bat as they have not slowed down. Bomb's already in B. Plant getting dropped by Relic. Have a lurking player that's relayed just around the outside is yet to make his position known. As the bomb goes down, relays maybe wanting to make a play here. He's got to bide his time as the flank comes through from the Saints. The stun on the inside actually banks right off the bat. Relic not going to stun him up, so Relays does not want to hop in there just yet. Now it's time to tango, and he dances with the devil. It's Relays now for a second kill of the game as Brandon's going to double it out. 2 players out for the Hornets. Steve-O's going to back things up and even up the live count. Sid and Toxic both now in those post-plant positions. Sid's going to make it a 1v2 as 13 seconds left. Relays has to get this kill and get back to the bomb in time. It doesn't look like that's possible, Cash.
A great play.
As Sid plays their life so perfectly.
A great play to kill time and a very strong post-plant setup. I mean, though Relays was able to get into the bomb site and find the kill, you know, there on Relic, it's the post-plant setup was so strong from the ARs, the way that they could kill time and find a way to make those players chase them down. They did exactly what St. Clair College was trying to do. They were at a, you know, life disadvantage after Relays got into the bomb site. It didn't matter. It was a very strong offensive response out of them to also find kills, win that round, and answer back. Relays still on a 4 streak, so it seems like when you've done enough to keep yourself in a good position, there's always a player that's poised and with the ability to get streaks.
We go offense for offense. Now Saints back over to A. 3 players stacked to this side of the map for the Hornets, so reasonable adjustments coming through out of Shenandoah. Relic on the inside of offices, a lot on his plate. He does have some backup, but Toxic bites a little bit too much. Right off the bat, he jumps the gun, and he's going to lose his life. Now for the flank. Relic drops down through train station, trying to get in behind these players. A 1 kill would be good enough for him, but it's a little bit awkward. Still walks away with the kill under Relays. Now for the trade out of Priestley. Post plant going to be locked in, though. Sid still alive and kicking. 1v1 versus Brandon. No information on where this last player is, but time to burn throughout this clock on either side. It looks like Brandon has slipped the line, got in behind undetected, and gives Saints another one.
I was gonna say, I'll give you one guess at where Brandon is. He's about to shoot you in the back. Does just that. A player that slips the net more times than not. Sid, though, at least making it interesting. I thought he was dead to rights there in that first gunfight. Is able to snap and take it with the automaton. 3 offensive rounds in a row here on Berlin that have been taken. Very successful pushes from either squad. And from there, each respective team winning their gunfights to win the round. Out of Shenandoah, another B push looking to come in there. And for St. Clair, you're throwing another body at it at least. A 2-2 split defensively for them. Priestley opens up with the first blood. And now you pump the breakthrough for Shenandoah over on this B site.
Already a change over towards B for Relays. He's just going to set up shop on the inside of this B hut. No idea on where these players are. Shenandoah have yet to, really throw any bodies at this one. And Steve-O just waiting for a chance to strike over here. Stun onto the back. Priestley gets caught. Now information to work with. Although you look at that mini-map at Saints, now starting to collapse on this position over towards B as they haven't had any noise on this A site. Priestley goes down. Brandon now looking to get into this one. Mail room occupied a little bit for one of these players. Is Brandon going to find them? No, he won't. Relic getting the better timing now. 2v3 in favor of Shenandoah. A-zone or A-site completely left open. This bomb could hit the rotation.
And that's exactly what it's going to do. A great call out of Shenandoah. A great mid-round adjustment, given the kills that they found. Wonderful adaptation out of them to wrap this, get this plan on A, and now have a 2v2 retake. For St. Clair, we'll see if these players look to group up as Bendy already flying at this and didn't get eyes, but now the jig is up. Player 1 and Relays on rotation as well. A 2v2, and they're looking to play this one split, I think. If player 1 goes that way, I'm thinking they're playing it split here, at least to start.
At least to start. Relic, though, in the window. Brandy reads him like a book. Now 6-3, having quite the search. Stepping up for the Saints, puts Toxic into a 1v2. Pitch on either end, but looking to take himself out of this and clutch up for the squad. 28 HP, has to check the bomb. Pistols out, and that's Relays. The new kid on the block out of Latin America, stepping up for the Saints big time on defense.
It's been a search and destroy of timings. That's what it's come down to, and both teams have found themselves on both sides of the coin. But St. Clair still walk away with it. Relays coming up big in the clutch here. You're low on health. If you're Toxic, pistol out. Relays is going to take that gunfight most days of the week, I would say. Now they find themselves up 3-1 here in this map 2. Shenandoah. It's been a solid performance out of them. Again, a couple more timings, a couple more things go their way, and it could be 3-1 the other way, but
you're right.
St. Clair still putting themselves in great position to find success, and that's due to the work they're doing off the opening break. Previously opened that up with the first blood, gave them the life advantage, and from there, they played around it. Now offensively, to go up 4-1, St. Clair pushing towards his A side. I mean, why fix it if it's not broken?
Ooh, Toxic gets crossfired a little bit there. Priestley and Brandon both. 2 rounds in a row, both back-to-back 1v1s. Saints strike first here in round number 5. Beautiful nade there from Brandon just to check on the inside of the window. Nobody's home, though, right now in the A site. But all rotations are here for the Hornets. Looking to trap the Saints on the inside, see if they can pull a kill. But you talked about the flank coming through from Brandon throughout the pass. Well, he hasn't slowed down at all. He's already hot on the trail throughout these players. Bendy, though, it's not going to be Brandon. It's Bendy here on the flank. Brandon's going to take head on this gunfight. Kills out onto Relic. 1v3 for Sivo. Does he have it in him to bring this one back? Bomb gets planted. Now all eyes forward through this door. There's going to be 3 Saints players. He breaks on throw. Now the information is there. They collapse. They take him down. And Saints now a 3-round lead.
St. Clair rolling in this map 2 search and destroy. Shenandoah just haven't had an answer, and it's been to the life disadvantage they've been at in these rounds that they've been losing. They found themselves at quite the life disadvantage here. That's no different. St. Clair in a great position to, again, play the trade. They play so well around one another, enabling one another to make big plays. It was Relays on a 4 streak earlier on. Now it's Priestley on a 3 streak. It's Bendy hitting a flank with the sniper. Just, again, opening up so many different avenues. You do the hard work like this to cut out these routes for yourself, and so much on the map can open up because there's so much to watch for the opposition. Another 2-2 split defensively coming in for the side of St. Clair, and Shenandoah leaning towards this A site. Going to try to bully it out here through outer door, and, well, now with some gunshots off, they know that the push is coming this way.
Oh, Bendy, he's already through Secret. That's bombed down with Relic dead. Already out with his life. Saints, they get in and they get out clean throughout A. Bendy finds a second one on the sit as well, so to make a matter worse for Shenandoah, Bendy is just ripping you apart. Now looking for the Ace. Not going to happen as his teammate comes to clean it up, but Hornets a little unaware of the Saints players, and like a shadow, they strike without you knowing.
As soon as you turn your head to try to play the trade after the 3rd attempt, Brandon there to shoot you in the back once again. St. Clair, more than exciting gameplay that we're seeing out of them. Bendy at 9 and 5. I mean, everyone positive and over 5 kills for the side of St. Clair. As far as slaying goes, I mean, it's similar in a sense to Bacage. Playing really well, finding kills around the map, doing everything they need to. Is St. Clair College calls out a couple on the cross. They're going to work this B push where now there's just one player. Sid's going to back down. And again, for St. Clair, what else do you want?
Oh, but Sid wins out the first kill. That's Bendy down. Such a big hitter to take off the menu. The trade out from Priestley, giving a leeway now for the plant, for the bomb to go down. Saints, all they have to do is set up here on this post plant, and we are done and dusted for game number 2. Relays sets up shop here in mail room. Tucked away into the corner. See you later, Relic. 1v2 for Steve-O. Can he hold on for the team? Makes it a 1v1. Priestley versus Steve-O. 25 seconds. Automaton recovered. If you had to take your bets, players back warehouse is where this defense should stem in, but Stevo is completely overlapped on this last spot. 14 seconds, the time is draining away, and Priestley's he's set up. He just needs to wait, use that internal clock, and check it at the end, and Priestley, the veteran of the team, the leader of the team, he just sets up shop, he waits it out, and he brings the Saints to a 2-game lead now.
I played the timing wonderfully. I think he even heard him bust through warehouse doors, so that internally reset that 7-second timer that he had. And again, just a great heads-up play, like you said, from the leader, from the veteran, and Priestley to put them up 2-0 in the series. A 250 to 125 hardpoint, a 6-1 search and destroy. Switching gears to go over to Tuscan. It's been 3 new maps for the first 3 in this series, and St. Clair, I mean, what can you say? They're rolling. It's as simple as that. This team looks great. I mean, a 6-man roster where, again, their coach is confident you can plug in any player and they're going to play like nothing's off. And it's impressive. It just is. You know, we can't talk highly enough about what St. Clair's been able to do this year with the squad that they have. And they are simply cooking. We said Shenandoah was going to be the first test. It hasn't looked like much of a test, or if anything, an open book one at that. They find themselves up 2-0 early on, and it's looking dominant.
Yeah, I'm trying to write something down right now. My pen is kind of running out of ink, Cash, but you know, it's just one simple thing that St. Clair has that, you know, other teams in this conference they don't have, and that's the griftive. You know, not a lot of people will know what this is, but right now the Saints are bringing it, and they're looking like the undeniable best team out of the Eastern Conference. You know, from what we've seen, I mean, this team has yet to drop a map. They look comfortable in so many different variants throughout, you know, throughout Vanguard. You know, whether it's the hardpoint, the search, or even the control at times, we've seen this team just look unstoppable. We head into Tuscan for this map number 3 for another control like we saw last week versus Old Dominion. They didn't let Old Dominion do anything on this map, and so far they haven't let Shenandoah do too much either, Cash. So this has me worried going into the last possible map of the series.
I couldn't agree more. And again, one thing to point to, you can talk about the laundry list of things going wrong for Shenandoah or what St. Clair is doing right. I think to keep it as simple as possible, it's slaying. From map number 1 off the rip, they couldn't survive that slaying onslaught through the first 2 hills. That put all of their timings in a blender. And map number 2, again, everyone positive, if not even double positive for the side of St. Clair. And here and control, where playing your life and you know, finding a way to stay upright is of the utmost importance. They have to find a way to bounce back, and until I see kind of that slaying department even out or turn around, it's just going to be a concern for me for the squad. Players have stepped up, right? We saw Stevo have a good S&D. You know, we saw Relic and Stevo combine for a solid slaying performance in map 1 Bocage, so it's not like they can't, but it's the one thing we talk about every time we have St. Clair on screen. All 4 players come to play, and when you have 1 or 2 Slayers popping off for the opposition, that's just not enough. Most nights that is against teams, but against a team where 6 players can drop 50 bombs at any given time, 1 or 2 players popping off for you isn't enough. It's got to be all 4.
Well, the Saints have shook the Hornet's nest throughout this series, and they have shaken it well. Tuscan control, I mean, for Shenandoah, you got to bite back a little bit here and see if you can sting the Saints where it hurts. This is where your season kind of really shapes up. This is where you really need to lay it all on the table if you're Shenandoah, and show yourself that at the end of the regular season, you have what it's take to compete for the top. It's all down to this moment, this last map potentially for the series. St. Clair with 2 comfortable wins, up 2-0. Can Shenandoah bring it back?
St. Clair kicking things off defensively. Priestley going to open things up with the AR, looking over a snappy POV, but Relic able to get the first blood there, and already 1 tick of progress coming in for the side of Shenandoah. A fast opening break for them that is a pleasant surprise given how fast St. Clair have played. I like that they've responded to the call here in control, and again, quickly capturing this A point.
That second tick should be really cleaned up. Stevo looking for the players through mid. Bendy and Brandon trying to work a little bit of a flank. Brandon goes down, but Bendy strikes lethally right into the heart of that A zone, denying that 3rd tick of progression as well, Cash. And it looks like Bendy, he wants to get aggressive through fire, see if he can shape up a little bit of a flank here for the Saints to get in behind the Shenandoah lines. Relays on the inside, taking a lot of heat, a lot of the brunt of these lethals and tacticals. He's going to stay alive on the inside, peeks up for 1. lines up a second around the back. Relic hits the ground just before this happens. But even still, Saints now, they've cut this down to 52 seconds left. Hornets setting up for another collapse into it. Priestley and Relays on 2 crossfires, and the automatons rip them apart as a 2-piece for both Relays and Priestley on the inside.
And Brandon playing fire is not giving them the roof spawn, so you have one lane you can run through if you're Shenandoah. That is just in-game awareness at its highest form here out of St. Clair College, controlling spawns to this ability. Now you're going to run into Brandon. Toxic does win a gunfight. That opens up B, but Toxic not going to take that lane. They're going to keep funneling because they have no time left and no room for error. For St. Clair College, another textbook control out of them. I mean, you can't, again, I feel like I've said it in every mode tonight, but you can't ask for much better. Sure, Toxic gets on B, but again, this one feels just about over for the side of Shenandoah despite some heroics.
Well, 6 life difference, 7.9 seconds. Last hurrah for the Hornets to keep this round going. They were going to extend that timer to another minute on that time clock. But even still, you look at this, B zone hasn't been touched. Toxic went for that late game heroics to see if you could pull away a couple of these Saints. And it did work. It did give your team a little bit of breathing room, Cash, but now it's the hard part. You're going to look for a clean 4 down just to get anywhere close to a ticket progression here at B. And after that, you're fighting from the inside out if you are Shenandoah. So shaping up for the hit here. Toxic looking to lead all the way through. Bonk spots down Brandon, loses the gunfight. Now for the Hornets, down a life. They have to wait for Toxic to get back into this. They can't get a little bit ahead of themselves because you look at this. Now the crossfire is going to be set up for the Saints. They're picking them apart. A 7-life lead for St. Clair College inside round number 1. 19 seconds left. Priestley's going to take down Sid as well. Brandon takes down Toxic, top bunk. Things looking to fall apart here for Shenandoah. Steve loses his life through a church. Not a lot of time to work with. No lives behind these hits either. And St. Clair College, they're looking to cruise into a 1-round lead now here in Tuscan. Great
Composure from St. Clair. It came down to the time. I mean, by the time they were able to group up and figure out where they wanted to push over to B, there was 45 seconds on the clock. So much time had ticked off, and from there they had one clean team push that they never quite got because St. Clair was able just to pick and find some kills to just slow that down. Like you said, you had to wait for those players to come off spawn. All that's doing is eating at the time. St. Clair play the defense brilliantly. Though they give up B, they don't mind. Though they give up A, they don't mind. They were able to hold on like it was nothing over on the B site now, giving it an offensive go. All 4 players running A and opening up the first blood once again for Priestley.
It's going to be difficult for Shenandoah because, I mean, you've mentioned it time and time again, Cash. The slang just has not been up to par with St. Clair College. And now with zone control, St. Clair just going to fly forward. Brandon heading this attack on through. It does blow up a little bit in his face as, 3 kills answered back by Shenandoah allows Steve-O, way back into the zone. Looking for relays around you. Will take down that first player, the Saints. And it's an excellent bounce back here from Shenandoah in their defensive round. Steve-O just needs to stay alive in this position. He cannot go down.
And he's got 3 players looking at him here. Relic does trade out with a grenade behind Toxic, finding another kill. So it's 2 for 1 on the feet. You have decent control. It's can you hold on? Sure, you have the life advantage by 1, but you're trying to do the same thing St. Clair just did to you. Bleed that clock, funnel them through 1 lane. Unfortunately for St. Clair, they don't lose too many gunfights, let alone back-to-back. They're going to find a way back onto A. They're going to find a way to capture this point, and now eyes are looking forward towards B.
One by one, they knock down Shenandoah, take control of A, and now 2 minutes to take control of B. Bandy's going to find the first through church. Pulls a couple of the attention now from Shenandoah towards this middle portion of the indoors. Sit up back. Auto in hand. How much damage can you do to the Saints? Well, none at all, as Percy's just going to blindside you. Now, a little bit shaken up here will be Shenandoah trying to breathe their way through this round. Slowly but surely, but they haven't yet been able to find their footing.
Previously trying to figure out where this next player is. Steve-O opts to dip altogether and get out of there. Now the push through P5 coming in. Priestley trying to watch through top church, and you're spread defensively. You're trying to repinch the hill. Toxic, this play has to work out because your players are starting to fall in and around the site. At least you're stopping the clock if you're St. Clair. Toxic going to repinch and try to find 1. Brandon going to find Sid, and now all of a sudden these forces are starting to stack up.
Yeah, Toxic only good for 1 for the flank as well. Hops into the zone to see if he can contest, and Does get jumped on by Priestley. Still Stevo around here to see if he can relinquish some of this pressure. All the way up top, Platt gets spotted out. Relic for the overwatch there. Last player for Saints just lurking about throughout this B zone. Hasn't yet been spotted. Stevo shot down by Brandon through P5. Relay's going to double down on the inside of Church, and now for Shenandoah down to 9 lives versus the 14 of St. Clair College. Beautiful kill though at a Relic to see if you can delay a little bit more here out of the time of the Saints though. You have Bendy in your backline just picking you apart. Finally drops after finding 2 kills. Allows the avenue in for the Saints. 46 seconds is where we're going to stop this clock. Second tick's going to be secured. Working on that third tick now. What do you have in you for the Hornets? You have to break back into this one. Sid slides on throw. Bendy lights up 2 of them. Last tick getting worked on, and Bendy gets a 3K on the inside of B to give St. Clair their second win.
It's simple. It's easy. It's been quick out of the side of St. Clair. They are playing fundamentally sound Call of Duty, and games can look this lopsided when you play simple. They're not doing anything around the map that's revolutionary or that we haven't seen before in Vanguard. It is simple, fundamentally sound Call of Duty, and it looks this dominant when it's executed well. Of course, fundamental Call of Duty is what everyone strives for. The execution is where people get hung up, and for St. Clair, they've got it pieced together here. This team looks like a team that wants to go out and win a championship this season, especially for their last regular season game. They're trying to go out with a bang.
Priestley, I mean, he is definitely somebody to talk about. Has been a part of the Saints now for 3 years. Not a lot of success behind this roster, but never giving up and never surrendering. 21-9 as he's going to drop to Stevo. Maybe give it a little bit of an avenue over towards A for the Hornets. Time's going to be stopped at 1:06. Stevo playing that front line. 6 and 16. Hasn't had the biggest impact, but has a chance there to turn things around. Not going to happen at all. The Shenandoah Jays just collapse and fall on the inside. 4 clean kills out of St. Clair College. And they battle back into A without giving up any progression.
Now it's a scramble for Shenandoah because you know that clock, less than 60 seconds. You have to work some kind of opening. These players spread all around the map for St. Clair, so it's not like you're walking into pre-games. Now you've got to kind of finesse and check some more corners. It's a 3v1 on the site, but if Relays is the one standing, feels a little bit more like a 3v3. This guy can take any 1v1 that he would like with some teammate help out of Priestley. They're able to retain control, lead the rest of this clock, continue their life advantage, and again, work towards closing out this series.
You got full Shreys for Relays still. One last hurrah for Shenandoah to stay alive in this series, to keep their regular season hopes for that #1 spot in the conference alive and running. But now the streaks fall. Relay's going to take down Toxic. Priestley through mid-U. He finds the second one. MB40 in hit. He rips the head off of Sid. Now looking to shut the door on these Hornets. Shake the nest off the tree and cement yourself as the best in your conference. Priestley's going to fall, but the Saints are going to rise, and they're going to prove themselves to have the utmost grift if when it comes to the Eastern Conference and take that #1 spot.
If you weren't convinced, I don't know, anytime in the last 5 weeks, yeah, that, now's the time. It's not too late to hop on the bandwagon. Seymour, he's been a day one ride or die. No bandwagon here. This guy knows what this team can bring, and wow, did they bring it. For Shenandoah, one where I don't know that they expected to get routed like this. I was expecting it to play closer. You know, though I picked St. Clair to win, I did expect it to play closer in the series, but even from the last time we saw the squad, which was last week, it just feels like they continue leveling up. It just feels like there's no ceiling on this St. Clair squad.
Look, from what we've seen across, differences between the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference for this varsity league here in Nays. I mean, the end of the fall season, maybe priorities are elsewhere for a couple of these teams. Maybe the players aren't too honed in on sharpening their skills here inside of Vanguard, especially with MW2, just a week away. But throughout the fall season, between both conferences, I don't think I've seen a team as well put together as the St. Clair roster just yet for the fall season. I mean, the year just started for a lot of these schools, and, this Saints team looked like they've been playing together for years now.
They really look like a squad that have had more than enough reps, and it's crazy to think how you even talk about with Priestley being kind of like the leader on the squad, a team that hasn't found a level of success that they've wanted, and here it feels like this is finally that year. Like you said, whether it's people turning eyes towards MW2 or rosters not quite gelling the way they thought, I mean, for this squad, they look to be locked for Vanguard. You know, we talked and we've had some interviews even throughout this regular season of squads that are like, yeah, we're locked in for Vanguard. We're not even thinking about MW2 until this is over. And again, St. Clair, they've got that mentality, and that all starts from the top, right? And their coach, Zarin, who's been, you know, coaching them to be a six-man squad, be able to plug in and plug out whenever they're called on any given night, and all four players playing for success of each other, right? Again, I said it last time we had them on screen, but it's just so impressive, especially, you know, in the esports scene where egos can get in the way. The St. Clair squad, it seems like, though they're playing for their starting spots every week, no one is playing selfish Call of Duty. They're playing for the greater good of the squad. They're playing for the team to win, not them to win individually to get a starting spot, because they know teamwork's gonna get them a starting spot, right? Doing what they need to support the team will get them where they need to be, and trusting that process is something that not a lot of schools have figured out, and I would even venture to say here at NACE, St. Clair's the only one that has figured out to the extent and to the depth that this same squad has. So again, so impressive out of them to come out and be as locked in as they are for this Vanguard season, and I don't know if they could be happier going into this postseason.
I can't wait to playoffs when I get to see, you know, Saints play your Northwoods, your West Virginia universities, those teams who have also cemented themselves at the top of their own conference. But it's going to be a while till we see those matchups come into fruition here inside of the NACE Varsity League. But we're going to take a look into our interview now and bring one of these Saints players into the booth, pick their brain a little bit of what happened there. We got Bendy on the mic for the interview. You know, I mean, you just absolutely tore through Shenandoah through that matchup. How does it feel to win that comfortably against the other team that's undefeated in your conference?
I mean, it always feels pretty good when you 3-0. Feeling pretty confident. We've played pretty well so far in the season. I think we like 3-0 or at least 3-1 most or all the teams we've played so far. Going to the next game, feeling pretty confident. Yeah.
Now, you are also one of the new players on this team for the season, you know, for the year. You know, how has it been, you know, coming to the college, you know, fitting into this roster? You know, how's the transition into the Saints been for you, Bendy?
It's been pretty easy. All the guys here are great, and the place is also very, like, spectacular. Like, the nice ass PCs, great facility. My bad. Yeah, no, everyone is friendly here, yeah.
Oh, that's good to hear. That is good to hear for sure. I'm going to toss you over to Cash now for, you know, the remainder of this interview. Cash, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, if your gameplay wasn't enough to make me a Bendy fan, the hat definitely pushes me over the edge. Big Buckeye fan here, so, you know, I love the hat, I love the gameplay, everything like that, but I guess to kind of reel things back in, for you guys, you know, you haven't dropped the map, just to confirm that for you guys, you haven't dropped the map this entire season. What's your guys' mentality surrounding staying focused on, yeah, you know at this point you're a really solid team, of course you might still be working on things. What's your guys' conversation around not letting off the gas and continuing to push forward to, again, even if that's the most dominant 3-0s we've ever seen, what's the conversation surrounding not letting off the gas, especially going into the postseason?
Every series is different. Gotta handle every series 100%. Make sure we play at our best, and even if we're playing like teams like this or other teams that aren't as strong, I'd say, gotta make sure we don't make mistakes just in case we do play those good teams, and we don't make those mistakes in like harder games or harder matchups.
And so I guess just one last question to close this out for you, getting a little technical. What does a day of scrims or practice look like for you guys? Are you guys focusing on really fine-tune things like timings around the map or set plays and search and destroy? Or is it still loose, focusing on vibes and, you know, building team chemistry?
I mean, recently it's starting to move over towards more technicality, but I'd say like for the majority it's just team chemistry, getting everyone in, feeling comfortable with each other, seeing how we play.
Absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate, you know, the interview. I appreciate you answering the questions. Congratulations on the big win tonight. And, you know, I can speak for both Seymour and I when I say we look forward to seeing more of you this postseason.
All right, thank you. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, big shout out to Bendy there. I mean, I have to say, I'm impressed. You know, I haven't seen Bendy in this team as last week. We got a whole new roster of Saints, you know, last week and this week, and you know, I'm just impressed by the level of talent that they've really brought to the school for the the 2022-2023 year for Call of Duty. I can't wait to see more of this team, like you said, throughout that. But now it's the question, for the Saints. We've seen them top their conference. For the end of it, can they take the playoffs? I mean, this team definitely looks like somebody you'd really be kind of reeling into. Have a run for the championships inside of NACE. We've also seen them find a second place spot here in NACE. They still haven't found it. I mean, Cash, what do you think when you look at the Saints team?
I mean, it feels like if not now, then when? It seems like the squad having 6 players as good as they all are, and where you can, again, plug any of them in and not see a difference in the gameplay, or if anything, it continues to elevate. It feels like this not has to be the year, right? Because it's not the end for them, of course, even if they fall short. But it just seems like all signs point towards this being a team you can kind of bet on going into the playoffs to make a very deep run. And again, they also aren't satisfied with second, right? They're not going to go into playoffs and make a deep run just to finish second. This team wants it all, and it seems like their heads are in the right places to be able to pull that off.
Yeah, well, it's not the game that we were expecting to see during our match number 1, but it's the outcome we were expecting. Saints on top of the conference, now undefeated 7-0 as they take down Shenandoah University 3-0 today in our first match of the day. Coming up next, we got Colonel Esports versus Texas A&M International Dust Devils. Can't wait to see these two battle it out for, again, top of their conference over into the western side here of the Call of Duty Varsity League. We're going to cut to a break. When we come back, our second match and the final match of your regular season COD.
it's not going to be by that much at all. As Rulu is just, at the moment, destroying West Virginia. Simplicity loses another stock, or at least the first stock. So Rulu, oh, there's the other stock. I spoke this a bit too soon.
May give an opportunity, but Scrubby and Caillou are here to stop any aggressive plays. With the Nano Swarm, some shots, looking for the wall bang. Caillou finishes it off. This is a hasty maneuver, only 10 seconds left, but no one can make the play.
There is going to be a last-second contest. Ashton University don't want to give this one up quite yet. They have the blade, they have the overclock, and with B1H coming in, if that's a kill, this is well and truly doable.
Yeah, this really is. The Papa Smurf out of Megan, out of the fight now completely, and B1H fire.
Down in towards Secret.
Ogre!
Elite's low. Gonna get taken out. Europe on for the ace. And he's got it!
No way!
Zenith played right in onto Zyle. Zyle staying in the middle. Will use that lantern to get out. Berg following through, but here comes High Key Savage looking to bring one right back for Harrisburg. Drops it with the solar flare. Gets the double kill onto the bottom lane. Looking for more though. Will be Western Kentucky. They return one kill, but High Key Savage wants to make this 3 with a triple kill.
No idea where these players are. Meathead in quite the right position, just laying tunnel. Ooh, you have quite the retake if you are north of no information, and Dak gonna get an unfortunate peek. Why not unfortunate? Oh my gosh, Dak!
This guy can do it all!
Well, there you have it, the plays of the week. And if you want to check out some of that action, don't forget that the Start League here at NACE, it runs all day, every day. Monday, Rocket League. Tuesday, Overwatch and League of Legends. Wednesday, COD/Valorant. Thursday, Smash. And Friday, CSGO. So every day of the week, you can see yourself a little bit of NACE action. And those plays, let me tell you, they were disgusting. I was hyping up St. Clair after last match and how dominant we saw them, but you can never, talk enough about that Northwood University squad.
Ooh.
Dak had himself a game in that search and destroy, and I can't wait to hopefully one day see that Saints roster play that Northwood roster, because that would be an insane game. But Cash, moving forward into the matchup that we have against or up ahead, we have the Western Conference now. Texas A&M International University versus Nichols State University, Colonel's Esports. Talk to me a little bit about this matchup that we have.
Yeah, I mean, looking for the rosters for each squad, for the Dust Devils, we've got 100K, ISO, Cetra, Danza, and for the side of Colonel Esports, Dreco, Shark, Q-Tippy, and C-Mac. And looking at these squads, I mean, you see right there at the top, right? Texas A&M International coming in at 5-0, Nicholls State only having one loss here in the regular season. This is a matchup that if Colonel's Esports can take, they could put themselves in the running for at least top 2, but also tied for first here in their conference. So a very tough conference that they've had to play in. They've stood their ground, done their thing. Same thing can be said about the Dust Devils. And one that, well, it seems like Dust Devils find themselves playing Maverick COD here after this matchup. One where if Colonel Esports win this matchup and then Texas A&M International can win against Maverick COD, suddenly you're looking at a 3-way tie for first. So much up for grabs in this conference specifically, let alone in this matchup. And we're going to go Tuscan, Double Berlin for Search and Destroy and Control, Gav2 Hardpoint for Map 4, and if we need it as well, a Bacage S&D to close it out. But again, as excited as we were for that first matchup, just as excited for this one here with this much on the line.
Yeah, you have to be thinking, those conference play-ins and the conference finals are going to be extra important, whether depending on the outcome of these next couple matches for the Dust Devils. But we got our predictions. I was kind of favoring in, the scoreboard when we saw it 5-0 for the Dust Devils. They look so clean. I do think that they're going to take this one away, but not without a little bit of a fight out of Colonel Esports. You, however, are putting your stocks over towards Nichols State University. Why is that, Cash? You got any, magic in this team?
Yeah, I mean, you know, having talked to even in interviews, everything's having talked to C-Mac in interviews and, you know, knowing a little bit about the squad, it's one where they're trying to build team chemistry, of course, for the future of the program, but again, trying to solidify themselves a solid year. And well, what better way to do that than to close out a regular season against your toughest opponent in your conference? You know, this is a squad that is starting to progressively get better as the year has gone on. They took a loss where they were able to bounce back from and find a couple wins in successions back-to-back weeks. Now their hardest matchup, apart from Mavericks COD of the season, that if they can take, again, all signs point to them having a strong playoff run as we get into the postseason. So that's just why I was favoring them. This team plays with a lot of heart. They've been a four-man roster the entire season, and this is one where they look ready to take if they can string together everything they've been working on.
See if their hearts can take down the Dust Devils today as we hop into our first map of the series, Tuscan Hardpoint. Dust Devils on the more preferred side going into that second set of rotations. We're going to be looking throughout this first map to see who can bend it like Bendy throughout this hardpoint and really take control in that submachine gun roll. It looks like C-Mac, he wants to make a statement right off the bat. He's going to line up two around the outside, give Q-Tippy a little bit of a leeway when breaking into that first hardpoint. And now Colonel Esports looking to hold this lead. C-Mac around the back now, looking to spray away at these rotations. Not going to be able to get the better of 100K, but the stun from Dreco cleans him up. Cetra goes down, and unbreakable so far into this first hill.
Yeah, they're not going to get a full 60, but I mean, you'll take 45 seconds off the opening break, and they're doing really well pushing through the map here for rotation. Player 2 and Shark has a big 1v1 here outside of P5, and Cetra going to get the better end of that timing behind 100K's 2-piece. So you slow down the rotation for now. You should have a clean look at the opening bit of time for P2, but you couldn't ask for a better, you know, opening break for Nickel State.
Second rotation, Texas A&M, they will be here first, but Colonel's Esports just grouping up to just break into this and explode onto site. It is going to happen. They are going to explode, but not in the way that they wanted to. Denza going to catch a teammate on the Cetra, but the rest of Nickel State get cleaned up relatively quickly. You lose the spawns at the back now for Texas A&M, and you got to be careful if you're either team in this situation, because if you're Colonel Esports, you get pinned back here. The rotation over to P3, not going to be that simple as ISO 100K and Cetra all pick off 3 kills of their own. Shark the only one to fight back. Now, Nickel State, they gotta worry about getting out of the spawn trap. And you can see that they're putting a lot of emphasis on the rotation over to next. They got a 2-on-1 for the rotation. C-Mac's going to trade it out, and now a race over to P3 between these two teams.
A race going down, a 1v2 on the site. You lose scrap time, you lose a good bit of time on P2, and well, you also lose rotation to P3. So you roll the dice, give up most of that P1, or excuse me, of that P2, 55 seconds of it, and now you have to find a way to break into this one with Dust Devils rolling off of some momentum from P2. You get roof spawns now. Can you quickly collapse on this before Cetra makes you pay for it? Not only on a 7 streak, but starting to pinch the hill could blow this one up in your face, and well, looks to do just that.
Oh, Q-Tippy in the back. Pieces away at 3 players for Texas A&M International. Just going to go prone on the inside of the site. Cetra not going to be able to read that. Another 3 clean kills coming through from Nickel State, looking to bring back this lead that Texas A&M have gained off the rotations from 2 to 3. Q-Tippy now on the inside, a little bit isolated by the 2 players. Cetra finds the break, and Cetra finds a second too. It looks like scrap time going the way of Texas A&M International is now Colonel's Esports. We're going to group up here inside of Church. Okay, with the pinch play between ISO, and they get 3 kills to break through. Shark's still alive in the back, so Colonels, they still have the spawns cash, but now you got to be worried about this flank from Danza, as this is perfect opportunity to really spoil the fun.
Does have the opportunity, is able to put shots into one, not able to finish it, but the teammate's there to do the job. That's another 3 down. Texas A&M International slang-wise, I mean, behind Cetra and 100K are really starting to shine. A little slow out of Nickel State, but it's nothing unbearable. It's just something they have to find a way to bounce back from. They haven't been able to get a majority of hill time here. That's starting to reflect in the scoreline, but when they can find a couple opening breaks, they can get into hills. It just seems like it's been hard for them to get those opening breaks. Q-Tippy, though, doing what he can to keep the team in it.
Oh, big 1v1 there from Dreco. 19 seconds to still clean up here inside of hill number 4. The break back in from Texas A&M International. The Dust Devils instantaneously battle back. Now the rotation over to P5. Danza inside of this hill. For the start, a little bit of backup too. Dreco strike first. The shots through the wall. C-Mac takes down Danza. And you see on the inside now, it's going to be Nicholls State looking to start off strong for this rotation over to P5. A team kill out of C-Mac. That's not how you want to go throughout this one. If you are Colonel's Esports, you just allow ISO to run through your teammates. It's brilliant out of Texas A&M International. They get back in without barely any lives lost.
2 more go down. You want to get into this with, still time left to fight for. Over 30 seconds left on this hill, but you're just not in a position to make a break. You're starting to funnel through top fire, and ISO is there to read these plays on a 6 spree as well. Another set of full streaks up for grabs between him and Cetra, both having great slaying games, and the whole squad really coming to play here. Danza getting good amounts of hill time, Cetra over 60 seconds, and nearly double positive. Nicholls State, they've got to focus on this P1 rotation, but it's another pinch on the hill and a 3 down on transition. They are just not finding the good side of these timings, not finding the kills that they need when they need them, and that's starting to spoil the scoreline. Now a 100-point lead coming in for International.
Shrieks for ISO before he goes down. Slaying heavily favoring the Dust Devils going to the second set of rotation. Nicholls State, you looked good here in P1, but now you have the better sides for the rotation over to P2, so Dust Devils will be able to have a chance to set up first into this hill. The collapse going to be spoiled there while Dreco goes down to 100k. Q-Tippy taking a lot of heat down to 21 HP. Has to wait for the right moment to strike on in for the contention. Right behind 2. There's 3 lining up, but can't find the second or third. So Cetra keeping things strong for International as now they've flipped things out for P2.
This game been in their control since P2, really. I mean, you got a good break on P3 if your Colonel Esports. Wasn't enough to keep you in it because you gave up a big P4 in response. Now, what seems like looking down the barrel of the closure of map number 1, A&M International have to do simply what they did last go around. They got 55 seconds the last time they were here, and 55 seconds would win it for them on this one. A quick break has to come in out of Colonel Esports. Yeah, you're through the back, but the collapse has to come. It has to work out, and you've got to win some of these gunfights. ISO opens up with 1, and starting to work some in the back. 10-stripe kill feed, not going to cut it.
100k gets 2. ISO, a little bit of alone, but reinforcements, they arrive. Now on the inside, a chance to close this one out if you are the Dust Devils as ISO drops. The rest of the team thriving on the inside. Q-Tippy trying to hold on for Colonel Esports on screen. Can you breathe some life back into this roster? The breaks go through. Dreco leading the charge. Q-Tippy up top. Gets eyes on one in the back. Not sure if he spotted him or not, but now has to drop down to contest this one out. Q-Tippy with the bad timing, but still alive in this. A chance to break back will be there for Colonels. 7 seconds is not enough to close this one out, but the rotation is going to be so important. Shark's here first, and Shark may have just kept his team in this.
At least a bit longer, but spawning mid-map and oh so close to P3 is going to be the Dust Devils now. They're going to try to fly in, not only through vines, but also to the front side of this hill. The streak going to hope to open things up for them, and 1, 2, 3, and 4 fall in succession.
Okay.
They scoop up the last bit of time. 250-74 is this final score line. Quite the beating the Dust Devils just put on Colonel Esports.
So it's going to be like that for the Dust Devils.
Like
a 100-point club on Tuscan Hardpoint. Not the best start, but after they started to get their, their feet under them and, resurface inside of that Tuscan, almost unbreakable is the wall that Texas A&M International have between themselves and Colonel Esports throughout that Hardpoint. One way to open up the series as well, Cash. It doesn't get any better than that. 100-point club for your first one. I mean, talk to me a little bit about it, too, because Colonel's Esports, they started off flawless throughout that first hill, but even though they started off with gaining 30 points in that first hill, they still only end off with 75 points at the end of it. What happened?
Yeah, I think what happened for them was, whether they put the focus on breaking a hill or finding it on rotation, they could never quite find those, big kills, and it sounds like such a vague thing to say in a sense, but on rotation, they couldn't find the 2-piece that secured them spawns. It was never easy for them, is what I'm trying to say. They never got a clean 4 down. It felt like after P1, they were always fighting on, a 2v2 or a man disadvantage in a 2v3 and finding a way to end up losing a life on rotation and not able to have a big play to blow up behind that. I mean, you saw Q-Tippy on P3 get 3 down and get the break for them there. They couldn't sequence enough of those plays together to, again, amount to any kind of comeback, and then for for the side, of Dust Devils, it was just a very strong. I keep bringing up Slang tonight. That seems to be the name of the game, especially here as of late in Vanguard, where Slang's been the name of the game. If you can play at a quick pace and the kills can reflect that pacing working out for you, it's something you can punish teams with as far as timings go. And again, Colonel Esports simply on the wrong side of all of that. Nothing quite going their way after P1. Nothing they can't bounce back from, of course, in the series, but one that you definitely are going to have to go back and rework if you are Nicholls State University.
And talking about Slang, rightfully so. I mean, it's so impactful for Vanguard itself. If you're not trading things out, you're not winning in Vanguard. And you can see in the scoreboard, not just in this series, but in the last series when we were looking at the Saints, it's just so important to fight back. And when it does come to the Slang. Now we head over to Berlin Search and Destroy. This was a map we saw in our series prior to this, Cash. I want to hear it from yourself, too, about it. What can you really take out of that first series through that Berlin Search and Destroy and kind of look to reflect here if you're one of these two teams?
Yeah, looking at that first series, especially the pain point that, was in the side of Shenandoah was their inability to trade well. They found themselves in situations where, we called Bendy finding a three-piece in tickets. All those three players were in proximity to turn and find a trade, but no one was able to. And again, trading is so important in Search and Destroy to keep yourself, not at a life disadvantage, right? To at least keep the playing field as even as possible. Even if you trade and the trade comes in a bit late, as long as you're able to find that kill, it can just work wonders in that late round whenever you find yourself in a whatever situation for a clutch. You want to have as close to a man advantage at best that you can find. So again, for me, it's going to be trading. How well are you playing around each other and your positioning? Are you holding good lanes that allow you to get a quick trade? Or even if you're in proximity, are you not in a position to turn a corner and catch someone before they slip away? That's what I'm looking at for Nicholls State to be able to do here. Behind the Slaying that you're able to find for the side of the Dust Devils, you got to find a way to trade that out if you're Nicholls State to stay alive in this one.
Gotta find a way to trade things out for sure if you're Colonel Esports looking to spoil this conference and see if you can line up a possible three-way tie between these two and Maverick Scott. Well, starting off in the offense will be Colonel Esports. Bomb in the hands of Shark. They take control of Mailroom instantly, and a default defense was set up through Dust Devils. Two players, lurking around the B site on docks and on the inside of that HUD. One player inside fire, one just going towards A, and not a lot being given away by either team in terms of information, Cash.
Very slow play. The bomb carrier very much being protected for Nicholls State. Was playing around that mid-map warehouse to figure out, okay, what side are we leaning? The B push seems to be the play here, and well, with time dwindling now below 45 seconds, they definitely have to make a decision. Shark should have got eyes on players top third, 100k, getting eyes on C-Mac there, but you just don't have any kind of site control if you're Nicholls State, and B can be a hard one to push out without much information.
Now you're gonna have to try another cold dead hands of these Dust Devils, though. Bomb goes down. C-Mac and Q-Tippy bring it back. Bomb's gonna have to be recovered now by C-Mac as the bomb looking to get planted here at B. Both players off the Dust Devils looking to rotate as fast as Alvarez Danza is able to disrupt that plant. Sniper in hand now on the inside. Pistol can't get anything more, but it was around there that potentially could have been brought back there from the Dust Devils if Danza wasn't left alone.
And again, that's what we talked about for Nicholls State. I mean, the best situation you could be in is a man advantage. They find a two-piece there between Q-Tippy and C-Mac. Now puts them in a 2v1, which goes down to a 1v1. Again, that's what they need to do. Find a way to stay on top of the lives. Find a way to stay on top of the trading. They traded out there at the end to win that round. Great stuff out of them, though they never got the bomb down. They did just enough to stay alive offensively, and here defensively, their turn to get a setup and respond. It's a 2-2 split. It's 3v2 on this A site. A&M International, they're in.
Oh, he's going to have a lot on his plate right now, and he realizes that. He backs up. He'll play his life. Danza is going to be the next up to the bat, and Danza's going to hit him quick with a strikeout. Now with the bomb down, Dust Devils have so much room to work with around this map, and you can see they are gliding through. ISO is going to find the second on a C-Mac, just looking the wrong way. 25 seconds, not a lot to get back into this. Danza launching like a hawk, right where Shark's coming from, leaving Draco last alive in a 1v3. They get eyes on, they shut him down, and an easy, quick bounce back.
An offensive push that turns out successful. A can be such a weird one to get a clean, I guess, post-plant setup is the word I'm looking for, but they had someone A long and then really just 2 roamers around, whether that be secret or mid-map, able just to take care of business and clean things up. Danza finds 3 in the round and is on a 3 streak here, something to keep an eye on going forward. As this is the second Berlin we've seen tonight in Search and Destroy that's opened up with 2 offensive rounds back-to-back, and even then, the one we watched between St. Clair and Shenandoah, majority was offensive round wins. We'll see if that trend continues here, but a free B plant for the side of Nickel State. We lost a player here in the lobby, so we will see what ends up happening of that, but for the time being, you're playing towards this B site, man disadvantage for A&M International.
Might have to play this one out so the round is done, but even still, Nickel State gonna have some trouble against these remaining players. Looks like the flanker out from ISO gonna be good to deny this bomb plant, but immediately C-Mac gets the trade, putting that bomb down. 1v2. Now that track goes down, they know exactly where Cetra is and where this retake is going to be stemming from, but Cetra has made the complete wrap all the way through the middle of the map, taking control of a mail room, looking for the player back warehouse first. Cetra, is he going to look the right way? He doesn't. Both players just barely passing by each other without spotting each other out, and as soon as you push out towards those docks, C-Mac watching for that flank, gonna shut down that player, and he's gonna bring now Colonel Esports back into the lead.
A 2-1 advantage for Nickel State, a good round for them to take, having a man advantage there in that. We'll see what the call ends up being once we get word on the player dropout for A&M International. It seems like the lobby being disbanded here. We'll see what the score ends up being for this one, but we are going to have the lobby close out as we look to get all players back in together here. 2-1 for Nickel State. We'll see if that stands after that last round, but wait until we get word from production for that. At least what we've seen from both squads talking through it, Seymour, I mean, it was back-to-back offensive round takes from either squad. Nothing crazy that stood out in a sense. I mean, you traded out well the first round if you're Nickel State, and then in response, it was just A&M International with aggression to the A site, and then just a solid post-plant setup. They played quick objective play, and it panned out for them well.
Yeah, pretty simple through Colonel. It's exactly what you were hoping for, going into the second map after being stomped on that Tuscan hardpoint. A lot of those, missing pieces starting to, formulate here in this second map. I'm not sure if it's the pacing of a Search and Destroy, not having to worry about those respawning players, and a lot of those effects of the kills are a lot stronger from Colonels. But all in all, it just looks like the team play is a lot more sound inside of the second map for Berlin, and exactly why Colonels probably wanted to go to this as a Search and Destroy map. Now, going into the next little bit, I mean, obviously, if you're Colonel Esports, you want to secure this map and tie up the series. How can you see them doing that against a team like this for the Dust Devils?
Yeah, I keep doing what's working for them. I think so often, especially when you're down in a series, whether it be a respawn or an S&D, you can overthink your gameplay, right? You can try to think too hard into what you're doing and try to throw the other team off so much that you're throwing off your own gameplay. And I think for Colonel Esports here, you just got to keep it simple. Trade effectively, work the bomb offensively, and do what you can to, again, find kills around the map to make the rounds easy for yourself. Don't be afraid to make mid-round adjustments, but don't overthink your play calls, Just do what set pieces work for you, if any, and find a way to just take this one round at a time. It's as simple as it goes. Even the same thing going into control, right? Of course, we're guaranteed 3 maps, so even once you get to the control round by round, no matter how this S&D turns out, that's all you can do is focus on what's right in front of you, and sometimes that's just a gunfight. So for Nickel State, they can take the Search and Destroy, they can bounce back and draw this 1-1, but I think for them, they've got to keep it simple.
Well, it's just one round at a time to bring this one back. You couldn't send it any better, Cash. It's all you can do, really, in that situation, is you're trying to take it one step through this. Folks, if you're just tuning in, we got a little bit of a hiccup in the game. A player dropped out, so we're trying to, rekindle this lobby as fast as we can and hop back into that Berlin Search and Destroy. We did get word that is going to stay a 2-1 lead for Colonels Esports, even though, the drop happened. The round was finished out, and we're going to resume where we left off. So continuing off that lead, now Colonel Esports only need 4 to win it out, whereas when you're looking at this from the Dust Devils, they're going to have to piece off 5 rounds if they want to win it out here in the Search and Destroy. Go up 2-0. It's going to be a big one too, Cash, because when you look at this in the sense of how strong Texas A&M International looked in the respawn for map 1, this almost seems like a must-win map for Colonel Esports to have a shot at this series.
It does, because they can play, it seems like, out of Nickel State so hot and cold in their respawns. I will give it to Colonel Esports that they play the control much tighter. I mean, you look at, you know, where they had lost the last time we had seen them, and they took the control in a they lost the series in a 3-0 fashion. They took the control all the way to around 5. So, again, they know how to play control and play it well, not getting too far ahead of ourselves, of course. But going back to a respawn, yeah, if they can win this map number 2, they could set themselves up to be up 2-1 in the series. They do play a sound control. Again, keeping up with the slaying, keeping the gameplay and play call simple is going to be their key to success here. But this does feel like a must-win, I guess, to get back to your point, and that where you don't want to go down and be forced to reverse sweep. You want to still have, you know, some kind of say in the direction of the series.
Well, when we look at this, you know, in the projection of the series, you go back to a hard point, you're looking at a Gavitu hard point. Do you think that, you know, it's important to outslay your opponent on a Tuscan hard point, Cash? Just, you got to think about that in the sense for the rotations and how important it is to secure those rotations as a team. These are definitely 2 maps that you want to win if you are Nickel State University.
They absolutely are, because, again, AR presence is so important on Gavitu, let alone something like Tuscan. It's so important on Gavitu. You need your ARs to find those power positions, to be able to lock down those long lines of sight, make it easier for your subs to kind of make crosses around the map and get in the face of other players. I mean, you have strong you have strong ARs. If you are Nickel State, can they both coordinate their gameplay around each other and play successful? Now that we're, you know, 2 maps ahead of ourselves, we can reel it back into here to Berlin S&D, where the Dust Devils are going for this A site, and Nickel State, they were ready for it. The flank coming in out of Dreco on the backside of the map. We'll see if 100K is ready for it, but a couple kills going their way, bomb going down. Suddenly a 4v2 in the flank just now coming into effect.
Okay, so Texas A&M International, a little bit of time to piece yourselves together, and now looking for a flawless round to even up the scoreline here inside of Berlin. As they open the door, they find a prone Q-Tippy, and now we lie, 2-2 tied up here in Berlin, Search and Destroy, Cash. And we go back to back, you know, both ways for these teams. You know, Nickel State University, you know, now going back onto the offense. This should be where they take back their lead if history, you know, repeats itself.
We'll see what the trends look to continue to be here in map number 2, and obviously score lines resetting for either squad, but no one able to find a kill there in that round. 100K finding 2, and another offensive go at that A site, heavily being favored for Nickel State, and well, you do the defensive side for A&M. Danza opens up with the first blood cross map, and Cetra's able to get another, what I thought was a smart play out of Nickel State. A&M International find a way to throw it back in their face. They've got to get this bomb down quickly before this rat back comes in.
Yeah, the nade spam delaying a little bit of time. You can see already the rotations coming through from the Dust Devils. It looks like Colonel want to find at least another kill before they go for this bomb plant. Q-Tippy hunting for that, takes the shots, gives himself away, and it's just going to burn even more time. Now 51 seconds. Is C-Max suddenly a little hesitant in getting towards this one? Going to take the wrap, and if you play your cards right here, if you're Nickel State, you might be getting some pretty good timing of these players mid.
We'll see what route C-Mac takes. A very smart in-game player, just trying to figure out, hasn't seen anyone in the minute, but doesn't want to put his teammate in a 1v3 situation for the clutch. Gonna go for the easy play, gonna get the bomb down here, but unfortunately Q-Tippy gets caught out. So even if you get the bomb down, it's just a matter of time before the collapse comes in. C-Mac, if he wasn't comfortable to plant the bomb then, well, he's certainly not now.
13 seconds, and he's just made no play to get this one down. Jumps out the window a little bit lost in the sauce. Our Colonel Esports after the reset, and that's 2 unanswered rounds from Texas A&M International, now to mount their lead here in the Search and Destroy for the first ever time now. 3 rounds 2-2. If you guys are a little bit wondering why I'm saying 3 rounds to 2 when it only shows a 2-0 lead, we did come off of a round reset where Colonel Esports were up 2-1. So since that reset, Dust Devils have rung off 2 rounds in a row now, leading the map.
And they're looking comfortable here after the reset. Just a little hiccup in the gameplay, but 100K, whether it's 100K or Cetra or Danza, they're mapping people at the moment here. getting this bomb down A once again. This is where the Dust Devils are setting themselves apart from Colonel Esports. They're able to, even though they aren't fully comfortable, get that bomb down, put the pressure back on the defense to make a play. Danza finds 2 there to trade out Q-tippies, and it's seeming like it's crumbling apart around them, but it's fast, decisive, objective gameplay in Search and Destroy that warrants you so much success, especially offensively. A&M International wasting no time here.
He's getting so much information now out in the open. Both players Colonel Esports just caught out. And the collapse, clean, concise, and well coordinated out of the Dust Devils. Now 3 rounds on the bounce since that reset. You get to see here in the final kill of the round. Danza 7-0 after 3 rounds. You talk about a superstar performance out of one of your players. Well, you're getting it here and now. Full streaks in the hands of Texas A&M International.
And doing that in just 3 rounds is impressive in a Search and Destroy. Danza playing such a lights out role as that AR, finding great opening bloods, getting to wonderful power positions, and again, fantastic timings, everything going Danza's way here, not only since the reset, but in this S&D. Nickel State, you do open up the first blood here in this round to try to draw things a little bit closer in the scoreline, but again, it's slow play towards B that allows A&M to get in a position where they can simply just hold pre-aims.
Nice on the inside, wants to dance, breaks through the door, 28 HP, trying to finesse his life as long as he can, and maybe a little bit damage, allows 100k through the wall to at least spray down Q-Tippy, but the answer back now, life advantage over towards Nickel State, looking to put this round away and bounce back in some momentum with their own. Danza has to be cut down on 7 in a row. Gonna have to go 10-0, double digits, just to win out this round. Bomb planted, 37 seconds. They know exactly where he is. He's gonna jump out into no man's land. Making it so hard to kill these players. Doesn't finish his food. And that's the round on the board for Colonel Esports, now giving themselves their 3rd.
4-3 here, within striking distance, and whenever Nickel State have been able to get the bomb down, they've had successful rounds. I mean, they've won every offense. They've been able to get the bomb down in, so that's something they need to focus on. Again, continuing to play around going forward. You get Dan to cut down. Unfortunately, the damage done as far as streaks are concerned. You have to be aware of that going forward. But if you can draw another round out here, suddenly we're tied at 4-4, and again, it's almost like those 3 rounds they won seemingly wiped away as you get back to a neutral playing field.
Looking for a way into A. Spots out Shark. Excellent trigger discipline from your sub, but eventually he's going to give it away. But he's just feeding this information over towards ISO to clear out that 1 kill. Now it's time to collapse on these players, and C-Mac a little bit ran over for a bomb plant here through Texas A&M. I mean, their coordination has just hit a new level, Cash.
It really has. The comms, you know how clean they are because, again, you just said you have the trigger discipline to not get that kill just to feed the information to ISO. You get the bomb down. It just seems like they have awareness of where these players are and are calling it out wonderfully. Walking into pre-aimed, you know where the push has got to be coming from to retake A. They're ready for it. They put themselves at match point here to go up 2-0 in the series. A&M International, they're setting up 5-3.
Yeah, what once looked like a comfortable map for Colonel Esports off the start, ever since that reset, I mean, Texas A&M International, their communication has been more on point. You look at Danza himself has completely hit a new level in slaying. And they have completely taken control of Berlin. Map point here, looking to go up 2-0 in the series. Almost put the nail in the coffin. For this best of 5. C-Mac's going to get stunned up. You look at that play from Danza. No respect to just run it down long. ISO's going to double down, so now 2v4 bomb. Glide bomb going to get dropped into this. This bomb's in the open. He's just looking for the player in the back. Through the door. Blooms. Shark off the map. That's going to leave Dreco in a 1v4 clutch to have to ice up to keep his team alive here inside the search and destroy cache. Not a lot of wiggle room here for this last player. He's going to get tagged up and cleaned up. Now Texas A&M International, they stand 2-0 in the series.
An impressive way to bounce back and close that one out. Not only after the reset, but just given that Nickel State was hanging with them, and they found a way to get the job done. I mean, they played that defensive round so aggressive that the spawns were flipped halfway through the round, and again, it was a 1v4 that, like you said, Drecker found himself in, and unfortunately wasn't able to take. So you're up 2-0 in the series, looking comfortable. You're going to a map 3 where you're staying on Berlin for control, and you can't help but favor the Dust Devils at this point, given how dominant and how much prowess they are playing with here. Nickel State just haven't had an answer.
No, they never had an answer after that one. It just seems like, you ramp up your skill level if you are Texas A&M International throughout that search and destroy cache. The slaying was good, the comms were good, and that is a scary sight to see going into this map number 3. I mean, we talk about our series number 1 today between St. Clair, for St. Clair, and the way that they dominated that going through maps 1 and 2. Map 3 control, it was hardly a fight. I mean, they dictated the pace, they had full control of the slaying, and for what we're seeing here for the Dust Devils, it looks like they're just trying to make a repeat of that.
It seems like we're trying to get, a back-to-back series of very similar play styles here. The team that's gone out early has gone out in succession and found success in the series. Here for the side of A&M International, you want to remain undefeated, you want to lock yourself for the number 1 seed and in your conference, or not the number 1 seed, but the number 1 spot in your conference. And well, for them, they have an even harder matchup after this against an undefeated Maverick COD. So their job's not done yet. This is just a warm-up for them here, and it's looking like just that. Nickel State have to find a way to go big in this control, not only to stay alive in the series, to kick off the reverse sweep and maybe give themselves a chance to fight for a top spot.
A lot of the line for these matches, like we've been talking about, the reward from the risk that are fighting, above your class for some of these teams. They're looking for that first place spot in their conference here in the West. And right now, this is everything for you if you are Nickel State University trying to, take down that number 1 team in Texas A&M International for your Western Conference. This is the last chance you have, for a reverse sweep here on Berlin Control. It's got to be that slaying that we keep on hinting to. I know it's just kind of hitting the same point over and over and over again, Cash, but you think about how important it is just to level out the playing field.
It really is that important. Again, slaying opens up so many other things around the map. It's not just kills, right? It opens up lanes for you to push through to get a break on something. Again, just looking at control, right? If you're able to find kills, okay, now you have an opening to get over to the B point and start to capture that. And if you're able to find kills, it can warrant you a spawn trap defensively to set up in position. It opens up parts of the map for control. It opens up and allows you to dictate spawns. I mean, kills are everything in COD, right? That's why we run around and try to find kills, is to make the game easier for yourself. And good objective play leads to easy kills around the map. Easy kills around the map lead to good objective play. They work hand in hand. So there's no doubt in my mind why A&M International are finding success behind these kills. It's opening so much for them around the map. Nickel State haven't been able to find slaying footing, and well, they have no choice but to here on a Berlin Control to try to kick off the reverse sweep. Can A&M International keep up the pacing and keep up the kills they have been, or do Currently Sports find a way to bounce things back whenever everything's on the line? We'll be coming to find out. But defensively here, you're going to be holding on for Nickel State, and well, you open up with 4 down, so hey, easy kills lead to easy objective play. Look at the spawn trap they're trying to put in.
You couldn't ask for a better start if you wrote it on pen and paper. Well, now Currently Sports is looking for a little bit of real estate throughout Berlin as Sharks going to spot the rotation over towards the speed zone. Now set up on the second floor. Setras already found home on the inside of mailroom and rips off that player. Now for a chance for Texas A&M to start getting some progression here over towards B. It's 3 kills to answer back. Now a little bit of real estate for themselves as the Dust Devils setting up in mailroom for some of this time.
They get the stack on the point, first tick progress in. Now just trying to stop the clock. You bled enough of it if you're Nickel State. It's going to be less than a 2-minute hold here if they get B, and Currently Sports going to do the smart thing and not throw any more lives at this ISO though. Being the isolated player, slipping over through A, stopping this clock for a second, trying to turn some heads, and Whoop is ready for the gunfight against C-Mac as 2 others fall around and make that all 4 players. So you find the kills in succession, you get the quick rotation over to A, you've stopped the clock, and now you can just hold pre-aims, funnel these players through these lanes, and Stanza holding things down and fire.
he's holding it down alongside the rest of his team. Danza has the power position with that AR. ISO just needs to stay tall and hold this two-player setup on the inside. Nobody's going to have a chance to touch from Colonel Esports. And a very decisive win on offense for the Dust Devils. I mean, a little bit of pushback at the start, but as soon as they get the ball rolling, it seems like that ball never stops.
It really doesn't. I think that's a great way to describe this Dust Devil squad. It seems like once they find an opening, they can, you give them an inch and they take a mile. It seems like the squad gets going and doesn't look back. Danza on 4, ISO on 5. And for Nickel State, like you said, you offered some pushback at the start of the round, but it's going to have to be more than that. Not only to take a round off this team, but to give yourselves a spark in this series. It's going to be a 4-hit over towards this A side to try and get an early opening. And, well, it's quick. It's ready. A&M International team kills the only thing that can really slow them down here off this defensive hold.
C-Mac gets caught through the rotation through mid now. You start to see those angles being locked down for the Dust Devils as Nicole State, they just want to start to mount some progression here at B, see if they can extend this time clock. Well, Q-Tip a little bit blindsided there by 100K, who just completely swipes out, takes down Shark, and that's 3 down yet again for the lives of Nicole State University into this round. You start to get a couple kills under your belt, but still 100K on the inside, just denying this progression through B. Stunned up, still escaping. Gonna fake it through the window. But C-Mac's gonna shut him down. That's such an important kill right there for Nicole State.
It is, and now you have a 2v2 on A, so if you play this a little quickly, you could find yourself with a man advantage. Shark finding another kill through a wall bang. Shark finding 2, and then suddenly B gets that much easier to capture when you're causing that many problems at the A site. A tick and a half of progress make that 2.
Draco
coming in. Draco already in a pressed up and forward position here. I mean, simply flipping spawns on their head as far as rotating around the map goes. But it's going to be A&M International once again walking out the kill feed.
And it's all fun at games when Draco's making plays like that, but when you allow 100K to really walk about the middle of the map and get that high ground against the players inside mailroom, it's not easy to get these zones. As 100K gets cleaned up, Draco again going to be distracting these players over towards that A zone. B looking to be cleaned up here as 100K is going to make one last hurrah at this, and no way he stops him again. That third tick, it's just moments away from being collected, but 100K, he's not letting them have it.
He's really not, but at least for Nickel State, the one thing you can look at is Shark or Draco. It's one player able to get up into A to force these resources to turn their head, and Shark with another 2-piece. Though 100K is finding 100 and some odd kills over at B, it's really Draco and Shark combining for 2 ticks of progress at A. Oh man, at least what I thought of 2 ticks. Now B comes in. I thought they had 2 ticks. It was oh so close. Either way, keeping lives close just with that A effort that they never gave up on.
And this is where it starts. A tick over towards A gives you a little bit of space now to work around the map, and a little bit of time in your favor. Once you do get that 4 down, in an instant, Berlin could just explode when you least expect it, and they have the collapse to make it happen. 100K is going to get caught out in the open through mid. Cetra is suddenly in a sink or swim situation, going to swim with the help of his teammate, and that's 2 kills to bounce right back into this one on the inside. It's a contention for time. ISO trying to hold on to A as best he can, realizes the player has made the complete wraparound. Q-Tippy looking to solo dolo his way through this hill, but you just cannot do that against the Dust Devils.
And you have enough time if you're Nickel State for 2 more team pushes. I mean, the time's not the problem, it's the lives, and unfortunately those are getting bled out. Danza finds a kill, C-Mac able to respond with a grenade, but you've got to figure out where do we want to make this push through. You'd like to find an easy pick in and around mid-map if you can to soften the defenses, but Texas A&M International are not going to give that to you for free. You trade out for now, you inch closer and closer to this point. It'll take 1-4 down to put you in a good position. Trading going well so far,
Look at lives,
but not making much headway.
7-5 in lives, not a big lead for Texas A&M, so this is doable for Colonel Esports. They just can now not allow for plays like this when you just get pieced apart and ran over. Danza makes the full extension all the way around, and suddenly that lead that was so close, 1v5 for Draco, 20 seconds left. It's got to be an S&D clutch and beyond just to keep your team alive in this control, and he's gonna find himself a little bit in no man's land, 6 feet under.
Colonel State had a chance. to take that round a couple times. They did the hard work that they needed to, right? They were able to get over to A, cause problems, keep the lives closed there at the end. But when it came time for a team push, you simply didn't hit a flank, didn't make a play. You were constantly getting cut down to where you just were waiting to group up. That let the defense get set up, didn't allow for any kind of trickery. And A&M International read that wonderfully. Now up 2-0 in control, up 2-0 in the series. Last round here to close it out. It's got to be an offense if they want to do it. But they're on the brink of remaining undefeated here in the regular season, at least through this matchup tonight.
And it doesn't look like they're ready to slow down Cash. KhazixMayJump leading the charge into A. They have control of the zone now. They're working on some of this progression. ISO, again, just going to sit in a little bit of a corner. KhazixMayJump just underneath this windowsill. Colonel Esports scrambling to get back into things, but already 2 takes the progression cemented here. The nade spam the guns. It's going to be good for Colonel Esports to not let go. 100K, though, he's trying to make word for Texas A&M International to cap this A zone. But ultimately, not going to happen. Only 2 takes the progression there in A. Still a start that you're okay with.
Very much so. Hard work done. B getting captured, and Nickel State really just now poised to hit a play, but you have enough bodies here and finding these kills that, well, I thought you'd be able to make a stop, but Dreco able to line up too. It seems like it's the Dreco and Sharks that show, keeping them alive here in this control. Going big for the team. Q-Tippy having a very uncharacteristically slow performance here in the respawn, and, well, they are paying dearly for it. Dreco doing what he can to keep B alive and contested, but that will not continue to be the case much longer. I think the best bet for Colonel Esports at this point, chalk up B. And, well, you guys are to hold on for about 2 minutes for 1 ticket A. We'll see if they give it one more look, but, man, this one already not looking good for the side of Nickel State.
I was going to say, if Q-Tippy can catch some fire into the late portions of this control, I mean, you could see Colonel Esports holding on, but 1 tick to A. I mean, this is so hard to do. Shark going to connect with another double kill throughout those offensive spawns. The 2 players of Dust Devils that have slipped through just going to set up shop here and fire. Now, the chance hasn't shown itself just yet for Texas A&M International, but it looks like they want to take control of the spawn of the defenders before pushing into the site. The nade going to land onto C-Mac, backs him up for now. 100K looking for his way through the window. And oh my word, that's a bloody kill feed.
All 4 down, holding on for now. It's just 1 tick. All you need is 1-4 down, but Nickel State starting to press beyond that 50-yard line of the map, forcing A&M International to take these gunfights off spawn. Starting to try to bleed these lives up 4 as well, so definitely have the possibility to do this, but they're spreading themselves a little thin. It's a 4 hit through tickets, and I don't know if they're going to be ready for it. They just need 1 tick. You've got to group up quickly here if not finding these kills. You're starting to wrap back. Dreco finds a couple, Q-Tippy with another. That might just be enough to push back this hold. And now 9 lives remaining, 45 seconds on the clock. Nickel State, I mean, they have the ability to do it. They just got to hold on a bit longer.
Somehow loses 100K. A little bit of ring around the rosy, and 100K just feeds that information over to ISO. The cleanup's going to be there. Now 2 down. Q-Tippy has to make a play on this flank. Slips into enemy lines undetected, but is it going to pay off? It's not. Danza, etc. Now 100K's turn to chime in for a couple kills. You're seeing them fall. Colonel Esports dropping like flies. Now the streak's going to be called in, and you're looking at a 3-0 stop from the Dust Devils to mount the first place in the Western Conference.
They get themselves up there. They put themselves in the running. They still have a chance tonight to take #1 in their conference, continuing to sit undefeated. The last matchup, Maverick COD. And that's who they have next. If this series wasn't one to test you, well, at least this next one's going to be. And for A&M International, again, it looks comfortable. It was dominant 2 3-0s that just, again, convinced me, right, that these teams are ready for the postseason. And for the squads that were on the losing end of that, it's not over yet by any means, right? We're just getting started, it feels like, with this postseason, of course. And it's even with a last chance qualifier, right? More than enough opportunity, but there are just some things being worked on by these squads still that they need to hone in that, again, you're starting to run out of time to piece it all together. And for Nickel State, flashes of it all, but still not enough there for them to be able to take down the Titans of A&M International. They fall here and close the regular season out at 4-2. Still not a bad performance by any means. I know teams that would love to finish at that as well. For A&M, big matchup still left tonight. A big dominant win here for you, but another one of those top conference squads that continue looking better and better and making their case for a deep playoff run.
Yeah, and you talk, the perspective of Colonel Esports, you can see the pieces are there, to make yourself a team that can take down teams like the Dust Devils, but there is a lot of work to be done going into that Modern Warfare 2 year for your team. And, the job's not done for the Dust Devils either. You got Maverick COD coming up next, the other undefeated team of your conference. You have to think, if this one, maybe knocks down Colonel Esports' chance at running that three-way tie, but now for Dust Devils, have you really cemented that first place spot? I know that Maverick COD team definitely looking for blood when it does come through that, and they're a team that I have definitely put my stocks in as, making those improvements throughout the last Vanguard season and now this fall season. So that's going to be an interesting matchup when we do get it, later on tonight off stream between those two, as this is, the last day of regular season. Those games are going to get, cleaned up today, and we will get to see, the finishing job for a couple of them. But I'm right alongside you, definitely, the playoff run is looking good for not just the Saints, but a couple other teams, and it makes me excited for the playoffs. I have to say, it makes me really excited for when those playoffs come through, because, when we finally get to see these teams match up against each other, these top teams out of the conference, I know it's going to be a bloodbath, Cash.
It really is. I mean, even though, again, these matchups were still exciting tonight, right? Though we, shaped them up like, again, there was a lot on the line. I think both of us coming in tonight expect them to play closer than 2-3-0s, but it still makes you excited for the teams that are performing this well still against teams this good in their conference, because, yeah, I'm just literally hungry for seeing these matchups between Northwood and St. Clair, and now we can see A&M International against West Virginia, all of these top schools coming together at playoff time to play one another. I can't wait for it. We have so much to get to before we get to the actual playoff bracket between conference playoffs and LCQs, but we're working our way there. And well, here tonight we still have an interview set up for us for the side of Texas A&M International University, and we can bring them into the booth and ask a couple of questions. But man, I mean, it's been a great night of COD here tonight, and this interview I know going to be a good one.
Well, welcome to the booth, Danzig. Congratulations on the 3-0 win tonight. How does it feel, to again, put yourself in that #1 spot in such a convincing win?
Yeah. My mic's on?
Yeah, can you hear me, Danzig?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, how does it feel? 3-0 win tonight. You are definitely looking at the strongest in your conference, and what kind of preparation went into this match today?
We knew this season was not gonna be as easy as it is right now. Coming out with a new roster, picking up ISO off our second team. We knew we had to practice way more than what we did last season, as last season was not very good, as you could see. But yeah, we practiced more, we scrimmed more this season, and we got better results.
Well, that's good to hear. Definitely looks like you guys are putting in, the work to improve as a full core 4. Now, you've beat Colonel Esports today. You still have Maverick COD to play. How are you guys feeling about that matchup?
We know they were going to be our toughest matchup in the season. We've scrimmed them in the past, but you never know what could happen. They could pull up something off their sleeve, but we'll be ready for it.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that you guys are definitely thinking ahead for that one, and definitely not underestimating this team. But that's going to be all for myself. Cash, you got any questions to add?
Yeah, you remain one of the few undefeated teams left here at this point in the regular season. You guys are a very solid performing squad, and you said you've been kind of working through some changes, bringing ISO up, different things like that. What's your guys' #1 priority as you look to close out the regular season tonight? Is it still team chemistry? Is it more technical aspects of the game? What's priority #1 here for the Dust Devil squad?
Normally we gotta work more on our game. I feel like our team chemistry is not bad right now. We literally this is not the only place where we communicate with each other. We hang out outside of this university. But yeah, main thing we need to fix more on our picking up our pinches. Always a guy gets sneaking up on us. That's what messes us up, and hopefully we'll fix that with MNSU.
Absolutely. Well, I'll let you go here and get prepped and ready for your big matchup against Maverick COD here coming up soon. But thanks for joining us in the booth tonight. Congratulations on the win, and here's to hoping you can finish out the regular season strong.
Thanks so much, guys.
Now, Cash, another game done, another, regular season in the books here for NACE Star League. And I have to say, not the outcomes I was thinking tonight. 2 3-0s that looked that comfortable between these two teams. I thought we would maybe at least get a fourth battle.
At least somewhere in there, we don't get any of that. And again, I'm more so hung up on the fact that it feels like just a couple weeks ago we were starting here at NACE, and now we're already done with the regular season. So we are cruising through this final sequence of Vanguard matches, and still a lot left ahead of us as we get into playoffs. But yeah, different outcomes I was expecting tonight. I mean, this season, sure, the teams are kind of shaping out where I expected them to, but at this point in the regular season, I wasn't expecting hot 3-0s like that between the squads that we got. We know that at any given time, any of these teams can turn up, and they've done that for us here. So I'm definitely going to be tuning in to see how this A&M International and Maverick COD match looks out. But for the time being, man, well, that'll do it here for us tonight,
Yeah, it's going to be all for Call of Duty, but it's not all for NACE tonight. We still have Valorant coming up next as our last third match of the day, as we're going to be tossing it over to 2 new casters. But don't forget, to subscribe, to follow the Twitch. We got Rocket League on Mondays, Overwatch League of Legends on Tuesdays, Call of Duty Valorant Wednesdays, Thursdays Smash, and Fridays CSGO. So lots to check out when it comes to collegiate esports here in the NACE Star League. But we are going to throw it to a break, and when we come back, we got Valorant on the menu, everyone.
It's that time again. Welcome to the stage. Oh yeah. Where energy and creativity collide. Here we go. Let's level up. Make this something to remember. All right.
All right, and welcome back to the Star League Valorant matchup. It's been just a week, but it feels so far away. We always want to get back into this action, and here we are today with a fantastic best of 3, 2 undefeated teams, and one of these squads you cannot wait to see in the server. Before we talk about them, I'm Los, joined by Vincent, and boy, I'm excited. I already talked about it, Vincent, but tell me, what are you feeling tonight?
Man, I cannot wait for these two teams. We got Northwood University and Radford University going up against each other. You mentioned that they're both undefeated. I'd argue Northwood, one of the best collegiate Valorant teams out there. And I'm just excited to see them play. I've seen these players a lot, and so we get down to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But before we get down into the weeds, Los, you know what it is. We have our season format. The regular season leads into the conference play-in, at which point you go towards those conference championships. That's where you want to be in order to make it towards playoffs. But if that doesn't work for you, don't worry. Last chance qualifier is your way in to that grand finals. Absolutely going to be a good time. Those are in person, by the way.
Ooh, in person. I mean, there's nothing like it. In-person LAN activity just to see where all your hard work can lead you, and nothing feels better than being able to, well, defeat your opponents and you can see them. And I think that's the most important thing. But here's the rundown of the day. We wrapped up some Call of Duty. Great matches done by Seymour and Cash. But now, it's Radford. It's Northwood. Boy, are we excited. You can see that Radford has that 5-0. That's just a forfeit matchup later on, so don't get confused. They aren't getting some extra innings, some office hours to play some extra maps, get those wins to pad their stats. But regardless, one of these teams is going to walk away defeated. The perfect record will be shattered. But in the end, they are all looking for this major scholarship prize pool. That's $2,500 for the first place squad, $1,250 for the second place, and $625 for the third and fourth place squad. So definitely some nice money to be fighting for here in the Star League.
Listen, it is always better when you're fighting for some scholarship pricing. It's a whole lot of fun, and I'm excited to see kind of who's going to come out on top. Lots of scholarships across all the games being given away at the end of the NA Star League, but it all is possible thanks to our amazing sponsors and partners here at the NA Star League. For example, Extra Life. I want to thank them. You can head over to extralife.org for more information about how you can help change the future with games. Definitely awesome. Change kids' health, change the future. Awesome to see, but they're not our only supporters.
No, absolutely not. There's a lot of people back in the NA Star League because it's a great cause. We also have Duncan. The NA Star League runs on Duncan, so make sure you click the Twitch panel below to find a Duncan near you. But also, this is a moment where leaders can be made, in-game leaders or just team players, and that's why the ROTC is also a partner here for the NA Star League, so you can become a leader with them as well. You're not already an in-game leader at your respective university. So thank you to all our sponsors, but now we got to start checking out who we're going to see on this lineup. What are the rosters looking like today?
Yeah, and I mean, I discussed it there early on as we head into this Week 7 matchup. There is some stars on this roster for Radford. I want to get into them just first off because I feel like I have a lot to talk about when we get to Northwood. Shattered, going to be the one for me that you want to watch out for. They are a Radiant player, have some time. They played on Akuma Esports, a Tier 2 roster, Tier 3 roster. A little bit limited in their time there, but have some significant matches under their belt. But on the other side, this Northwood team, they are a dominant force. We're looking Mocking, Benji, Ali, Darkest, and Dip 5 to close out that roster. And Los, I mean, you and I have both watched them in the Tier 2 scene, in the Tier 3 scene. They are players that you could argue are pros. I mean, you really could. I think that, you know, a little bit more some than others, but 100%. They are dominant in their field, and in collegiate especially, they have really, really not found their match.
No, absolutely not. Northwood is by and large a powerhouse in the collegiate scene, not just in Valorant, Rocket League, Overwatch, and beyond. This is a organization or a program that's been created by this university that just breeds and collects the best of the best esports players, and that's what you're going to see when we head into the match, because you have some players from Lenny time. Mocking and Dip both have that experience with each other, so this is just going to be an absolute pleasure to watch them play. And here are the maps we'll check them out on. It's going to be Haven, Ascent, and if it does make it to that map 3, it will be Vine.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is going to be interesting. And listen, I rarely say this, Los, but I don't think the map pool matters at all. I genuinely don't. You know, our producer asked both of us, what do you think that your prediction's going to be? Who do you think is going to win? And it didn't take us long to answer. And well, we should see it here in a second. We both said Northwood, and it was like that. And I mean no disrespect to Radford. I'm sure that they're a fantastic team, a fantastic program. It's not about that. It's about the fact that this Northwood University roster, they just don't lose.
I mean, they haven't, and they haven't shown any signs or any reason to really have those weaknesses found. But we'll have an opportunity to see, well, not us. We already know, but you at home, you'll have the chance to see exactly why we are hyping this roster up so much. It's not just because we like the program, we like the names of those players, it's because they get in the results.
They absolutely do. Dip, the endgame leader, the stalwart figure and the duelist on this team. Interested to see kind of what they bring, is going to already be locking in that jet as, well, it's going to be pretty obvious as the why. Darkest on the initiator role, as is Mocking, and we'll be seeing Benji go for the go for the chamber here. Ollie on the controller. Probably the player I've seen the least amount of is Ollie, but I'm very excited to see what they have to offer as well.
I'm definitely putting some time in those extracurriculars over on Pugstars specifically, and that's where we get this information. That's why we have the strong understanding of what Northwood University can bring to the table, because they aren't just restricted to this collegiate circuit. They're out there, they're competing, and they have those extra skills that you bring back, because we've said it before, I'll say it again, the best way to get better is by playing against better opponents. You'll learn from them, you'll learn how to counter them, and maybe we'll see if Radford has some of those skills that they can contest. I definitely believe this won't be a completely one-sided affair. I'm sure they'll put up a strong effort.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this Radford team has some heavy hitters. We talked about Shattered, but they're not just the only one. So I don't think that we're going to necessarily see, you know, the most one-sided affair. And you and I have seen a couple of very one-sided collegiate matchups in our time. So definitely looking to see kind of what Radford is going to do. But I think that the sort of conversation point, Los, is that their fate is in their own hands for Radford. They're going to be showing us precisely as much or as little as we're going to see here.
And let's take a look at what we're seeing so far in this initial setup. I wonder, we usually see, or I'd say a common tactic to leave B open, play for that retake, but I want to know what this initial agent setup is going to be, specifically looking at AOT. Where he's going to place all that equipment, all that utility to make those fast rotations. And it seems that it'll be a double placement on B, just to look down mid.
Yeah, a little bit different, I think, than the norm per se, but I don't dislike this at all. I think it's a good idea. We're going to see a very early engagement off the back of that as Jip goes for the swing. And we are. It's a quick rendezvous to get out of there for AOT, excuse me, and the 0 point. I'm going to stall things out before the attack heads towards C.
Trademark does tag a few of Northwood. You have AOT looking for another opportunity. Followed up with a flash drive and do work with Tenati to make those 2 kills, but they're traded in kind. The site has been taken by Northwood, but they don't have it fully secure. Not until Dip finds a double.
Last player standing.
Lume going to be able to find that from the grave with the boom bot. So 1v1 now. Fade on fade violence is Mocking. Always want to give Mocking the advantage when it comes to 1v1 situations, but has no idea where this player is coming from.
Don't have the spike in hand either. I know it's right there. But it's also some pause coming from Shu. Uncertain if this will be a full-on commitment to the site. And what's difficult about this is so much time has passed. They can come from anywhere, and Shu running out from Garage will finish it.
Nice shots from Shu, and like I said, you know, Mocking a deadly force in those 1v1s, but there was just no information about where Shu was coming from, and I like the passivity that Shu was displaying. It makes sense because, well, Shu doesn't know if Mocking has elected to rotate out, has elected to go back towards B, or maybe even all the way through Swan to A. You just don't know. So waiting on some information. As soon as the haunt comes out, then Shu is aware of where the commitment is coming. So Radford taking the first round and doing well with it. Here we go again, though. It's some long C aggression to get the confirmation on that orb. Just 2 shots away from a Blade Storm.
Double stack on that as well. It's interesting how you couldn't leave Garage unprotected, but you may looking to get aggressive. They actually send the Roomba up there. Don't think it'll find anyone, but it's enough to cause some fear and a rotation. 4 players are chilling on mid now, looking to take it to Shattered.
Shattered. Big for this player. They get blinded up, though, and still takes away an additional kill. Meanwhile, Wasp blind, so impressive to say the least. Mocking not investing anything into this round. Has nothing to work with. It's Benji, the 1-on-4.
Shot might be able to convert it into a Spectre, but too slow. At least bad timing as AOT finishes it off with a quick kill. But still, 2 frags there for Northwood on a eco into that force, so could have been worse.
This is the Northwood pick. They're picking out Haven. Elected to head over here, and in the past, I've seen quite a bit of the Northwood Haven, actually. Very good at it. Starting out down 0-2. Not what I tend to be used to seeing. It's a bit refreshing to see Radford step up. Big 1v1 in the first round, but here's where things are going to get harder.
They've never known AOT to be here, so the double stack is going to be interesting. Paranoia goes to the right, Tenati hit, but a great information gathering moment. Dip keeps himself secure, but the real hero here is Shattered with 3 kills so far, holding it down, looking for a sheriff to keep themselves safe. but it won't be enough. Information gathered and shooting through that dark cover is going to be everything they need. A quick escape, though, by Benji along this round.
A big investment from Northwood denied, and Radford stepping up big time. That stack, that hold on towards C was perfect. Ended up working out beautifully. And I think that Northwood, they're seeing right now that Radford are not a team they can take lightly.
Without a doubt, and that full-on rush of players going down to C, that was on the expectation, only one player there, but I'm really loving the versatility that they have in terms of their placement of the chamber. AOT even getting aggressive through Garage, which they've never seen before. That's going to hurt their lurk, but the real attack is coming through A long and short.
The Haunts gathered a little bit of information, and the Blades not going to find much of anything there. Nice blind. I think that was the Paranoia. It's going to be the plant. 3-on-3.
Spike planted.
Shatter should have heard Ali into this position, or at least that something might be up, and oh, just a little bit off on the spray. Fantastic work from Ali.
One enemy remaining.
Quick conversion, upgrade, it's that Vandal.
Teleport's ready.
Ali, the 1v1 right now, AOT. Able to secure kills before. They won't find it this time, and it's a thrifty victory for the first round for Northwood.
Man, everything looked so good there for Radford. They were making the right moves, making the right calls as well, but ultimately Northwood, they use the utility very effectively in that round. The Paranoia just doing a whole lot of heavy lifting, and Northwood able to move in off the back of that Darkest as well. Going to now be working with the Rolling Thunder. Had a triple kill in that last round, and despite Dip not having a ton of value out of the Blade Storm, it's not going to matter.
Honestly, I don't even recall the Blade Storm being involved in that round.
Yeah, it's because it didn't do anything.
Well, let's see if Dip can find some redemption this time. Checking those corners quickly. Here's the swing, but AOT with the stinger will find the win. They back off just for safety. They want to double dip.
Destroyed.
Back inside of the dark cover, expecting a flash. Playing for the ante, but the second this dissipates, they may be in a world of hurt.
AOT, yeah, read like a book, you could say. Shattered coming around, might be able to get a free kill here on the planter. Oh, Ali jumps off of that so quickly. Decision making was brilliant, and it's down to Shu. 1-on-3.
Spike planted.
Only a Prowler as well. This is going to be a tall order, but at least they've made their way outside of that dark cover, but only into a darker world. The crosshairs of Benji, and that's 2 here for Northwood.
2 in a row, might I add. Though, you got to give credit where it's due. Radford did pretty good damage on a round that they didn't have a very, or that they had a very limited investment in. So I think, you know, some good takeaways from it. What is that spray?
Great.
Yeah,
That spray is great.
I love that spray. Shatter leading the way at the moment for the server at 6 kills. It's Benji now, the operator, the tour de force out for the Radford defense. Alongside that tour de force, they got a lot of ultimates, but who needs ultimates when you just shoot them in the head? Lume with a nice shot to open things up.
Getting very aggressive as well. There was a pinch on C-Long, but Ali stops that one. Goes in for aggression of their own. It's Dip. They lose out instantaneously. Paranoia opens things up for Ali. Have to know someone's around the corner, but that knowledge does not give them victory. It's up to Darkest now. The 1v3. A similar situation we just saw last round, but the onus is on them to plant.
Well, the good news is that they have the Rolling Thunder, but the problem is trying to find out where these players are coming from. Shu has given away a lot of info with that jump. Darkest knowing what's happening, but all of that time is time for Lume to get into position on the longest of long flanks, pushed all the way up A long, and finds their way up C in order to find that final frag. 4 rounds for Radford as they have answered back after they lost 2 in a row.
Not a loss of a big investment, that's the op, but there still is the Tour de Force for Benji to utilize. However, I haven't opted to activate that yet, but I'm sure it is coming, and there it is.
Yeah, definitely gonna be pulled. Here we are.
To play, let's play.
Classic of the paint shells as well as the C's. Doesn't manage to snatch anybody. And this time Benji's looking down long. They got hit with the 0 points, so this op isn't exactly in commission. Once it comes back, once that is nullified, you know that Shu isn't trying to face that.
I see what you did there. That's very clever. Shattered. Gonna do some additional nullification with the null command, maybe? No? Gonna just fall all the way back via the Nightfall. Here we go, the push is coming through.
Coming through that smoke is a great shot onto Dip. No information needed. Again. This time, 4 on 5, and Mocking is playing it real close. So much utility to get the information that they are close. And walking right through Shattered's fragment says, you know what? I don't care. I'll still fight you. And that gives them extra pause. But this is also a big deal. It's the null command. And up from the top, Lume also activated the shuttle stopper, but Darkest shooting them out of the sky and also taking down the bot is there to save the round.
Darkest with a massive victory there. Denial of every sort, right? Null command, see you later. Nope, just sit down. Showstopper? What show? There's no show to be had here. Darkest with the double shutdown on the ultimates, and Radford get nothing out of 2 of their big ticket items. Northwood with a big moment, and Darkest particularly showing out strong. It's now an eco round of sorts. You have, whatever can be afforded for Radford as long as they can bind to the next round. So 1 rifle along with some of these marshals.
Oh, that's great use of that aftershock, but it will be an escape for Tenati, only to walk into the crosshairs instead. A quick and lightning fast execute. As you can see, just a scramble, or at least a hope to reconvene together for a retake.
Easy. Darkest just makes it look so clean. Great anticipation. There's another one coming on the flank too, but Radford just so surely this can't be possible, but maybe I spoke too soon, Los.
And Shu is doing damage as well. They've even the odds a little bit in their favor. Not a full 2-on-2. Still have weak weapons, and you're working with the Marshal. If you can find some kills, if you can trap them in there, that may be massive.
Man, that fragment was perfectly placed. Everybody was there for Northwood. Unfortunately, I think the only thing that ended up doing was speed up Radford's spawn, or respawn rather, because just forced all of the gunfights to happen at that moment. But nonetheless, a pretty good eco round. Not bad. Northwood, though, starting to build some economy into this. You see nearly 7,000 on Benji, so they seem to be very committed, Northwood, to this, just C aggression. I wonder if they're trying to set Radford up for something later on into this game. If they're trying to give them the idea that this is always going to be the case.
What's interesting is that they used to have plans for this. Radford keeping multiple players around ready for this. More. But, this is a wild moment. The second that dark cover falls, they face a fault line and a prowler. And Shu just couldn't have a worse situation to be in. Now leaving Radford just 2, looking to face a full Northwood squad. And they'll decide, let's just hold on to our guns.
Yeah, listen, I don't blame them. Listen, this is not what you want to be retaking it. It's 2v5. This is where in my ranked games I'm like, hey guys, we should save. Just yell that as loudly as I can.
And then me in your ranked game would say, you know what? I think I could take him.
That true. I'm like halfway saving, and then you're going for it whilst the spike's exploding. Yeah, that is definitely what happens.
Not a bad save though, and a few exit frags. I think 3 in that case.
Well, you say that, but they both went down. So The saving part, not so good. The exiting part, great.
The economic damage was good if they weren't saving.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, they did fine on the exits, great, but unfortunately, when they both go down for it, you gotta wonder if it was worth it.
I mean, based off the purchasing power from Northwood, no. Certainly not. They can
You
buy
heard
that
it here
right
first.
back. The answer is no.
Well, the Haunt comes out. Here's the rolling thunder as well from Darkest. Everyone on the site is going to be struggling.
Oh my lord, this is best POV of Dip, able to watch as Mocking single-handedly, essentially, takes down 4 opponents.
That's what we call a mocking moment. I need that, like, trademarked. You know what I mean?
I'm thinking mockingmoment.png.
Certified mocking moment right there. I'm gonna make that a thing if it's not.
You know what? I'll drop one later just to solidify it.
Ah, okay, great. See, we're on the same page. Speaking of mocking and the moment he just had, we're talking a Nightfall. Prepared and ready. Hey, Los, guess what they're doing? They're
Running it
rushing
up to C.
Yeah. Imagine my surprise.
A good fragment, though, to keep them at bay, but Dip already inside default. What? AOT doesn't want to give it that easily. And finally, Radford have put a stop to this C-long aggression.
Last round before the
So
switch.
now's the question, right? Where did Northwood go? Do they run it up C again? Or do they go somewhere different?
BYB fans,
Because
going to
Radford
Astral to do them
put like
Astral
4
goddamn
players
things I do.
very close to C in that round. Look at how much they're favoring the C side right now. There's just 1 player even in the ballpark of A.
Get out of my
Waiting for
way.
this. And it's, I think, looking for those initial picks and getting an understanding of how many players are down long with that 0 point is going to be very telling. And also, you can see some movement. Lume walking down mid, expecting somebody, but I'm not sure what the play is. All this utility sent down, but it's actually a feint. It's only Dip.
Yeah, like I said, they are finally getting to the second part of the plan here, which was to convince Radford that the C push would be happening no matter what. It's finally going to be the A rotate. They committed everyone to convince the 0
Spike
point
planted.
that was actually going to be the commitment. And Mocking a bit of a flank here, playing the lurk game.
Radford realizing we
player
cannot
standing.
allow this to stand. We can't focus our resources. And it was a bit of a Mocking moment cut short as they pulled out the melee in an attempt to close things down, but a 3-on-1, especially hit with the fault line. You're done. Benji cleaned things up, and Northwood will take the half 7-5.
You're done!
Switching sides.
Taken out of the round there. Tenati going for everything, but getting nothing in return. Northwood on the attack, 7-5. You know, I think that considering they rushed C quite a bit, not bad. Not bad.
A gift.
I think that could have gone worse. Especially because Radford, listen, we were understandably hyping up Northwood a lot, and I think that Radford deserve a whole lot of praise for how quickly they were adjusting to what Northwood were doing.
Without a doubt, this is definitely a team that can read and learn from their opponents. They won't stay stagnant. They won't just shuffle things around and hope it works better with a new composition. And now we have an opportunity to see what Radford can bring to the table. How well do they read the defense of Northwood? Already 3 there waiting on C, but a good pick down long might shift favor towards A.
It's looking like it will be Mocking, the only one playing defense. Onto this site. Some stars placed down, but Mocking with the Sheriff. Could call that a confident play at the very least. The Darkest coming in to help out.
Good swing from long though for the support. Realizing there's still some trouble. Shattered. Hit with the paranoia, and they realize These angles are not safe no matter what you take, where you plant. You have to ensure your safety, and that's only through violence. And Shattered is making a great case at that, sending out the 0 point. Why not? But it does not help. Darkest wins out the gunfight in the end, both earning a 3-piece.
Another standard Darkest 3K, to be fair, is exactly what was necessary for Northwood to take that pistol back. But some really brilliant shots coming through as well. I mean, Shattered, I was a believer there for just a moment. I was thinking that was going to be a different storyline. Northwood, though, with the pistol win, they've gone for, I'd call this a pretty aggressive buy. I mean, they got 3 rifles. One of those, sure, it's a Guardian, but 2 Marshals to add on to that. They're not taking chances. Typically, I mean, a team as good as Northwood, I feel like, would often go for more of the Spectres. I think this is a little bit more respect being shown.
Spike down mid.
Nice
One
shot
enemy
onto
remaining.
Natty. No shields. Should be an easy cleanup and a flawless, but nothing to really take home and write about, as it was that eco that Radford was walking into. But now they've got some rifles, but not exactly everything they were hoping for, especially with half shields on Lume.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you can't have it all. that's what it comes down to. With that being said, there is a big chance into this round. If like I said, going up against 2 Marshals, flawless means that they're going to be keeping both of those weapons, and the Guardian as well, though dip on the Guardian is a little scary. Normally, I'm not a Guardian enjoyer, but dip has convinced me at times.
Can't use that.
You know, I couldn't consider myself a Guardian enjoyer. Mocking, going incredibly deep into any enemy territory. Shattered says, no, you're not doing this. Dip also provides some presence. They wouldn't possibly send 2 players through that smoke.
No, there's no way.
Ollie, with the paranoia, they have that right outside for the dark cover. Darkest is there with the flash as well, but it won't be committed. In fact, they catch Dip on the flank and say it's time to rotate, and they head on over to A. It'll be Darkest in a race against time to try and beat them there.
Darkest is winning this race against time, to be fair. Now, the real question is, will he be able to hold on? Just 5 players moving his way. The Haunt coming out, giving the information away.
Last player
Maybe
standing.
A little bit of a mistake there, not taking that Haunt out afterward, but Lume, final frag. It's a nice round for Radford. They do a good job of anticipating the aggression, and even finding Dip on the re-aggress was perfect. Now, you got to keep in mind that Northwood still have money to buy. It's not as if they're broke just yet. We'll see if things change into what is the full gun round instead of the bonus.
Maybe some contemplation for Rip Benji, wondering if it's time to make that commitment to the op. They've got the money. It'll leave them a little bit of a glass can situation, but that's what you have the rendezvous for. So things should be able to work out, but it does seem like we may have a bit of a tech pause at the moment. So wondering how that'll be taken care of in just a bit. But again, a lot of money to play with, as you said, so this will be a much more concerning round going forward. If this is where North would take another loss, then it'll be a much more even playing field. Actually, no, full favor and advantage over to Radford if they take it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Radford are currently showing themselves to be a very strong team. Nice flash. Unfortunately, Darkest is able to dodge, and Dip is in a good position, but he's going to dash out. No need to be taking those aggressive maneuvers. Okay, well, I lied. I was going to give Dip credit for not taking an aggressive maneuver after getting the opening pick, and then he just updrafts onto B and takes another aggressive fight for no reason.
It feels like that's a scolding moment from a parent where, like, you shouldn't have done that, even though it worked.
But it worked. That's right. You know, to be fair, just because a play works doesn't mean it's the right play, but when Dip's playing as well as he is and Northwood are as good as they are, I can't argue with the results.
Now, all three Radford hanging out in C lobby, but there will be a Bit of a travel, migrating over toward grass with the help of Tenati. AOT still gonna cover their bases, ensure no one is providing a flank, but time is starting to tick down. Only 35 seconds left to make that execute.
Yeah, I'm starting to get a little concerned. This
seconds
is going to
left.
be a C hit, but there's 3 players in defense of it. And it's just going to be a dry swing. You can't give that to Mocking, no way.
Follow up from AOT. They've got some information. They know where Ali is. They follow that trail, and it's a great one by AOT. But it's not enough. Shu completely exposed. Hit with the flash.
No time.
They'll have to back off. Yeah, no time. This will be a great shot from Shu. Oh my god. But it will be a loss and a save here for the Fade.
There's been some moments, man. And some of those shots, they make me feel some sort of way. That one from Shu, definitely one of those. I loved what I was watching. It's unfortunate that it was in a 1v3, if I'm not mistaken, so not so effective. But here's Northwood. They're going to be buying back, and Radford, their money's not broken yet either, so they're doing okay. They've got the null command, and it looks like they maybe want to change the pace just a little bit. I'd love to see a fast A hit here and now.
A lot of posture there.
Nailed him.
Okay, Dip is just going to walk it down. Not even run it down. Walk it down mid and find a kill. Start things off and create a little bit of confusion as well. You have that presence from Ali over in Garage, giving a possible contested grass, but he'll back off instead.
Cover going out.
Looks like Ali's going to set up the, well, attempt to set up the one-way, I believe. Not so successful, but what was postured to be an A hit now is a Radford trying to desperately retake some of the area that they lost. They've got some mid-control now. Looking towards Garage is the plan. But Ollie, this time, doesn't miss out on the one-way. Flashbang is solid. Paranoia as well. It's perfect.
Oh my, Ollie looking for a third. No, Tenati denies it. They ran out of ammo. They have to jump away. Might be caught in the process, but no. Flashpoint on the horizon, but they escape it. But you can't escape Mocking.
Did you notice what happened there, Los? The C's pulled him in just a little bit, and so the aim got pulled to the right to miss the headshot. That was tragic. I watched that in real time, and it was like slow motion, watching like an explosion or something. It was like, oh no!
An oh no moment indeed. And you made it sound a lot sadder than I could have ever imagined, I would say.
I mean,
I thought I just got beat. Oh well.
That's what I'm here for. The emotion.
Oh, beautiful shot coming from either side. Lume might be able to push the team as they can pick up that Vandal, maneuver themselves into a better fight, but knowing that the ops here, they'll have a strong defense to walk on through, but they've got options.
Options are good. Blast packs to the face of your teammates, not so good. But AOT gonna hold down the backside, and this should deny the plan.
Oh, trouble trying to pick a target, but still Lume able to find the kill. Still, it's a one. No longer, it's a round one.
That's what
by
you meant
Rip
to say.
Benji with a 4K walking on through. It was a tough spot that Lume was put into in that decision of who to shoot in that moment. Able to get Dip, but the follow-up from Benji there was just too much. And a good play, all said and done, but it feels that once they got site control, it took a little bit too much time for the spike plant and post-plant setup.
Man, that first half, I felt like Radford were doing very well. 7-5, but they've only been able to get a single round since then. Just a tragedy in Dip with the opening pick.
And another one, I think, was actually using Benji as a bait just to get them to look at Benji. Dip follows up with the op. And that is a flawless finish to a great second half from Northwood. They have dominated the defensive side.
Well, I mean, the first half was great from Radford. They did incredibly well. 5 rounds out of that first half, but then Northwood just dominated the second. Like I said, Radford only able to find a single round when it came to that second half, Los. And I got to be honest with you, it felt like the entirety of Northwood just got warmed up in that second half. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, maybe, depending if Northwood continue that success, maybe we can ask them. But I definitely feel like the conversation point was Northwood making some uncharacteristic mistakes early on. They come to their own, get a lot more confident in the second half, and just dominate.
Yeah, it did feel that they were much more willing to take those big risks once we got into the second half. I mean, the play that finished off this map in general is using Benji as bait, finding 2 shots with the repeat on the op, and then just running it down with the blades. That's not something that we would have seen earlier on because they were maybe feeling a bit more conservative, wanted to ensure that their confidence was up, but the confidence is here, and Radford, unfortunately, unable to deal with that, especially on the defensive half.
Yeah, well, and especially the fact that, keeping in mind that we were seeing the majority of the defensive rounds or the offensive rounds rather for Northwood be just straight up C rushes as well, I think adds more context to that. But regardless, what is a 13-6 scoreline on Northwood's map pick is still not bad if you're thinking about how, you're moving into your own map pick if you're Radford. There is a good possibility that you're going to feel a little more comfortable on Ascent. That's where we're going to be headed. So, Los, I still feel confident that Radford could take something to Northwood here, but we'll have to see.
And only time will tell. We'll find out if Radford can bring it back in map 2 right after this break. And we're back. Welcome to Nay's Star League at Valorant. We wrapped up our first map. It's Radford, Northwood. Northwood taking that first map of Haven 13-6. Solid showing, but we're not done with the series just yet. And just in case you forgot, I'm Los, joined by Vincent. And what are your thoughts before we head into Ascent?
Yeah, I think that there's a couple of things going on. Number one, Northwood continues to be a really, really good team, and they only heated up as the game went on. We saw a pretty back and forth first half, you know? Radford took the pistol round. They were able to take some rounds off the back of that, even winning the first gun round. And then when the second half hit, they were stalled to just a single round. So I think that when you get down to it, Northwood are starting to heat up. That being said, we saw some big moments from a whole lot of this Radford squad. I mean, Lume especially, I thought Shattered was very good, and AOT had some big moments as well. So, if those three can continue to step up and have some moments, then I think that Ascent could still be very competitive. Of course, we all know who I think is going to win. I think Northwood's still going to take this away, but I think that Radford have a good chance of making this a lot closer than I anticipated.
Yeah, I mean, they've shown some great moments, and I also want to shout out Shu, who had some crispy one-taps on that Vandal. Really had that dedicated one dig hand on the Sheriff as well. We'll see if that continues. Unfortunately, you know, they didn't find too many kills throughout the map, but almost all of their kills were just beautiful, tasty shots. Now, if we can have a bit more, you know, momentum coming out of that player, things might really turn more into the favor of Radford, especially now that they're going to have a bigger chance to display and show what they've got in terms because they're starting on the attack.
Fair enough. See how they do on that. Lume going to go
Choose your
for
agent.
the Jet this time out. Was on the Raze before? I believe so. It should be easy to remember, but it's not. And we're going to be seeing a pretty, I mean, maybe old school is the wrong word, but I'd call this a pretty old school composition for this. T1 used to run this back in mid 2022, early 2022. So
honestly, that feels so much longer ago than it really is.
I know.
But looking at that lineup, it does seem, you know, it's all very early agents. It feels like an old composition because it is an old composition.
Well, you know, it's prior to the Fade release and prior to where people realized how strong that KO really is. And that's when you were to see this. That wall, it's very good. It has some good uses, but it can be a bit gimmicky. Whereas obviously KO is just a lot more consistent. And I've always been a fan of Killjoy on this map. This is a Killjoy map, but we've just seen things like Chamber be so much better for so long. So that's sort of why we haven't seen Killjoy as often. But I think this is still a very solid composition for Northwood. It is just a little bit of an old school mentality.
Old school versus new school. Let's find out if Radford can take this fight upcoming toward A. And it might be a fast one at that. Not many people here to defend it. It's Ali sending out the dark cover, and you'll have a wall to follow it up from Darkest. How long is that going to keep them at bay?
Ooh, nice shot onto the position there. The haunt and the smoke as well. Prowler connects, but it's not going to matter. Darkest, that's where the wall really comes to play.
Right.
AOT was the big help coming from Catwalk, and they removed that as a threat. So now all three are still stuck in A main, and the dark covers keep on coming. A resmoke coming right about now whenever that dissipates. So they have no forward momentum to push them onto the site.
Ali, 12 bullets to the chamber and 5 in reserve. It needs to be a little bit less, or it needs to hang on to what they have. Make sure they'll be able to take shots, but it looks like it's not going to matter that much for Ali because, well, this is a rotate off of the A site. Spike, though, still in that A-long position, so maybe less of a full rotation and more of a rethinking of how they're going to approach this with the A split instead.
Players at Shattered and Shu right around the corner, taking this fight against Darkest will be critical if they can secure it. Sure, actually finding 2 kills. Now with Tanati out of the smoke, able to find the shots. And They've secured the site with only 10 seconds to spare.
It's going to be a retake. 1-on-2 now for Northwood. Can we see a certified mocking moment? Recon bolt. 2 shock darts at the ready and the ghost as well. So
One enemy remaining.
Don't connect only enough for Tenati. Shu there to follow it up with a nice 3K. A certified Shu moment at this point.
well, that should be good for Radford. As sorry, that was rough.
Everybody at home, make sure you're clapping.
Yeah, that's on me. I tried to force it. Anyway, well done from Radford picking that up. A little bit of a missed shot there from Mocking. Couldn't quite get there, but Northwood still gonna go for the force buy actually. And I can't blame them. They've been very effective at these sort of half buy endeavors.
Here comes Mocking through the wall with the Ares. Not to make a few connections, specifically on Shu. Not enough to kill. Out comes Darkest with the Marshall, only to find themselves leaving Catwalk completely open. Dip wants to have some impact, but they just gotta run away.
Yeah, that's what happens when you get marked. That haunt is a deadly duo. Benji on Catwalk, and again, nice work from Radford. They've only lost a single player, and it's a 2-on-4. Northwood working from
Last player
behind.
standing.
Oh, Ali alive with the Sheriff. Baited out of a shot. Looking for free fire, but they're unable to secure it. Great round by Radford, able to hold on and defeat that force.
And it didn't even look close, right? I mean, the investment very, very high from Northwood, and what are they doing? Northwood's going for another buy here. This is, yeah. I mean, I was on board with the last one. This one, I'm not so on board with. Northwood, this is a lot of investment, and it feels like they're just hoping to push the advantage that they have, believing that they're just the better team, that they can do it even with limited weaponry. And maybe it'll work, but it is risky.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this whatsoever. Even this wall is a huge investment. But the Stingers are dropping down. Darkest to put themselves in a wacky position, but they walk away. Still alive. Drop the slow orb. And can give themselves a heal while the cavalry has arrived.
Yeah, so, I mean, ultimately not really coming away too much worse for Ware. Yeah, lacking some shields and that very heavy investment in the wall. That's 400 creds. So, like you said, definitely a big one just in and of itself. But they still have 4 players on the right site. If Radford actually commit to this A hit, they might be walking into destruction.
Cover going out.
I think it also depends from the placement and the timing of this Catwalk player.
Can't use this here.
Give them a greeting. Lume, the first one to jump out, and the Stingers and Sheriffs are finding value. 4 already dead in that rushing attempt to break on through. Now it's AOT. He'll be sniffed out in a dugout. It's a flawless force buy in a round that never should have worked.
Yeah, so that's what we in the business call a bruh moment. Like Northwood just continued to buy there, and they stacked A. Radford walk into it. I mean, listen, there's a lot more behind that. Northwood didn't make any real information plays. They didn't give away the fact that they were playing for A. They only had Darkest in that forward position, but Darkest has been there every single round. But Radford walked right into it, and it's tragedy. It's crazy, but Northwood away with it. What was that shock dart for?
That was clearing out utility. Had to make sure there's no nano swarms there. Just to be very safe.
Yes. Okay, understood.
Would that be considered a certified mocking bruh moment? Well, I mean, Mocking just got a kill. However, Lume finding a bigger kill of larger impact. Ali, only one alive here on A. But they are not alone. Maybe solo. That doesn't mean they aren't enough to defend this spot. Help is coming. The walls are closing. Ali with 3.
What? Poor Dip. The dash went off, right? And so they moved, but then died afterwards. Some server desync or something. That was hilarious looking on the screen. But either way, Northwood's going to tie the game 2-2. I'm a big fan of when you see some quality, crisp shots with the burst on the Bulldog. That just feels good, doesn't it?
Like, no, definitely the Bulldog. You were saying you were a fan or a potential believer of the Guardian. I'm always with the Bulldog. Doggy style it's top tier when you are on a budget. But now let's see what this play against players on a budget is going to be mocking. Just running right into that.
Oh my goodness, AOT, nice shot. And well, he went back for more. Ran into the Benji Buzzsaw TM.
Lot of official names here.
Don't ask anyone if those are like actual trademarks, because definitely not.
I mean, you know, you could be the first one to copyright that. Lou May hoping to copy some of the greats here and pull off a 1v3 clutch, but the spike is all the way down on mid, and Dip is already looking at the CT entrance to mid. So this is going to be a fight and a half just to find the spike. But it won't even be that long.
Hey, Dip, I think you killed him. You think he's dead. A little bit of extracurricular shooting. Bradford have 5 ults, I've just realized. So, I mean, this should be... Maybe easy is the wrong word, Los, but this should be a round that Radford have infinite possibilities in. Right? It should be everything that they want and more. All 5 players grouped up at B, so maybe we're gonna see the Nightfall coming through. Here's the null command as well as the Cosmic Divide. It is the whole kitchen sink thrown at Northwood.
Now does that actually allow them in? No! Somehow they can't walk on through. They face so much collateral damage in the process. Dip just hanging out, having a good time with Darkest. And Darkest is just being a troll right now. This is ridiculous.
That wall is so unreasonable. It actually is. Darkest.
And it still works!
Well, no, it's not unreasonable because it's bad. It's unreasonable because it's a troll. That's why it's unreasonable. And Radford, they played the delivery service. Look at this. How they done that? They gave their ultimates to Northwood. They came in with 5, and now Northwood have 3 more.
That is a very heavy investment with 0 success at all, and I think it comes from a solid read from Northwood. Nobody was in the range of that Nightfall. Everybody was backed off either in Market, Pizza, or Boathouse. That's where Dip was hanging out along with Darkest. So they were free and clear of this distraction or the dangers of the ultimates, fully expecting, I guess, because, as you saw, 5 ultimates on the queue, you gotta be ready for it to hit the fan.
I mean, yeah, you're right. It definitely was with good anticipation from Northwood. They were playing mega passive on B. They didn't want to give themselves any positioning that could be taken advantage of off the back of that early Nightfall, off the back of the no command. So they wanted to play it a little bit more close to the vest. But you just got to be impressed with the way they brought it back there. Radford left with just a tour de force and little to no money. I guess they do have the Blade Storm too.
Either super long range or right in your face.
You want to play? Let's play.
They'll go right together. Question is, how does this foul? Oh my lord.
Down A.
Dip. No right to be getting that aggressive in that moment. Still able to walk out with 2. Let's see if Ali faces the same fate. And no, they're having no hardships. Radford collapsing under this pressure. And what is this wall? What are these walls?
No, these walls are big brain. Trust me, Los. We just our brains are not large enough to cognitize. That's not a word. Don't look it up. The the absolute nature of these walls. It's brilliant. No, they are just troll walls, but it really is one of those situations where I think that they are having an impact, as stupid as it is, and they're funneling the majority of Radford into these moments. So if it works, it works.
Appears to be in nuisance again. Let's see the impact that comes from this.
Spike down.
Already found one. This Hunter's Fury does do a nice chunk of damage across the board, but not enough to kill.
What was this shock dart?
Out of range.
I don't understand where that went. Hey, there's a good wall.
Okay,
And it
finally.
locks Aodi out. Oh no! Can Aodi jump on top of that wall actually?
I think that takes a little bit of beat hopping skill that's just not present in this game. Darkest drops a ridiculous wall and then a ridiculous headshot down mid. But it's still Radford able to have this man advantage right now.
Darkest has a res. I kind of feel like they should be going to try and find a place to res, but instead, gonna commit to the site.
Last player standing.
2 missed shots, and
Calling my bot.
Benji needs the 1v3.
Spike planted.
Lockdown available. No need for that to be committed, though, in such a risky scenario where you've got essentially zero information other than the spike has been planted on A. And what is going on here?
I think Benji very convinced that there was players under heaven. Unfortunately, that was not the case. Nobody hanging out in hell. Only the players on Cat and in Long. So, Northwood giving up what was a pretty big advantage in that round. They got a bit too aggressive, and Radford takes advantage. But a three ult on the line, or possibility here for Northwood. They've got everything they could want, I guess. So, well, what would they do with it? 2 up. Oh, okay. Not 2 ups. We got baited. And up. 2 ups.
Oh no!
Bye.
Really?
I'm
That's
waving.
coming through. Followed up, shattered. Do they want more? They don't have the information that the op is here. They just know that Ali was here. Potential for the repeak, but more interested in a rotation back toward A. This all relies, it all hinges on whether or not Dip gets aggressive, finds a kill, or is losing their own life in the process. Finds a body, doesn't want to make the commitment.
What is that? Oh my goodness, Darkest. Gonna bring Mocking back from the grave. The shots from Dip connecting well. 5 on 3 now for Northwood.
5 seconds, not a huge amount of time for them to maneuver back to the opposite site. You've got the pressure here from Ollie. What do they have the shorty for? This is ridiculous just to bring that out.
30 seconds
Shattered
left.
bringing it back. I mean, this is one of those moments where you give Shattered an inch, she'll take a mile. Beyond the quad. Coming around the corner, Darkest, who has already brought back a player. Shattered now vulnerable.
Team Ace.
It's going to finally go down. It got a little scary there, but despite 4 kills in the round, Shattered cannot win it.
It feels that Northwood is consistently, at least for the last few rounds, teetering on throwing the whole round away.
You mean trolling?
Yes. That was the professional term for trolling. They're playing with fire right now. They're having a little bit too much fun in this and not really caring. Yeah, no, fun
Not in this game.
allowed. No!
This is a no fun zone here in Valorant. Come on now. No. All jokes aside, yeah, I mean, I agree. It's very much the case. Dip has the Blade Storm. Hello, Shu. That's a certified Mocking moment. Pushes 2, finds both the kills, is able to continue pushing forward at B.
No updraft to get that vertical advantage over A main, but Dip secures a kill anyway, leaving to Natty. They've got the spike and they're stuck in Gelad. Oh, Dip didn't even feel like shooting.
Spike down.
It was all a bait, a ruse to give Mocking the advantage. Mocking wanted it with the classic, I believe.
I hate watching this, Vincent.
Yeah, it's a little disrespectful. I'm not gonna lie.
And the worst part is that it's working.
I think that's
not
the
that
best.
it's working.
I think that's the best part, though.
I'm strongly conflicted here. I'm strongly conflicted, Vincent.
Your morals, your strong moral fiber says this is not good.
This is not clean, but collegiate Valorant.
But you're enjoying it way too much.
Might be the case. Strong presence over YB. They'll make their way if they could actually make their way through all these defenses. Follow it up with Mocking. Getting some nice kills with the Hunter's Fury, softening everyone up as Shattered, even through the darkness, through the ice. Find a head challenge in the darkest.
Through the darkest? Is that where you were going with that?
No, that honestly was just
Spike down.
it was just in my mind.
Bradford, 1-on-4? Mate. Nice gun, guys.
No,
guys.
not the knife!
Guys, stop. Please stop. Okay.
Oh my god! Stop!
No, please continue. I love how you're like the angel. I'm the devil on the one shoulder, and the angel on the other. It's like, no, please. Trolling is fun. I enjoy it.
Off the clock, I'm all for it.
That's fair. That's
coming
fair.
back.
I'll tote it back a little bit. That's my bad.
No, the dynamic
Face your
is too good.
fear.
Okay, everything's coming through, and this time the ultimate oh my.
Hi.
This is a certified Mocking moment.
That's right. Brought to you by Certified sponsor of the day, Starlink, by the way. Great chairs. Anyway, not an actual ad read,
Switching
but
sides.
Mavis didn't even pay us for that.
No. Wow. First half over with, thankfully. But now we'll see the opposite. It's Northwood on the attack, so playing how they've consistently been playing throughout the entire map, so nothing will change.
Yeah, I was about to say. So you mean like the same as what we've been seeing all map long?
Yeah, this is attack 2.
Yeah, they've been playing on the attack, off the defense the whole time, so. Either way, Northwood doing a great job. Well, maybe great job's the wrong word. Doing a good enough job.
Good enough.
I mean, that's because, you know, they're doing a little trolling, so it's enough. There's no way they're doing this. They're Mocking is going for the plan today alone.
Bruh. Come on! Anyways, Dip finding some resistance over CT. The door finally breaks. And the play is made. Has anyone realized the spike isn't here? Mocking. Just about to get out of range. And they do. But nobody's here to help. If Mocking just stays alive. Line isn't checked, or at least they win it. This is a winnable round. No. Umei earns it, but that spike is right in view from A main. Umei is standing guard here. They die. Benji, the last one alive, wants to stop this. It's Nebula blocking their vision.
Oh, but
and
they
they ran out.
Oh no! What a swing! Radford, they get away with the victory. Northwood hoisted by their own petard. Is that the phraseology? I don't know. I don't actually know what that means.
Going to Astral to do them Astral Guardian things I do.
This is a justified ending to a round started by Northwood. I'm glad they finally were punished for that because they had been getting away with this far too. They got away with it 8? No, 9 times. They got away with it 9 times, Vincent.
Up close right now. They can't keep getting away with it.
that is what's going on right now.
Someone needs to stop it. Oh, Mocking. He just can't be stopped. Literally unstoppable. He's on the opening pick. And the plant going down via Benji.
On the correct site this time. Second round tip. Trying to play mind games into position. That won't work out. Deal with Mocking inside the Nebula and an aggressive placement. Coming out by Ali. But
Standing ahead.
wait a minute, wait a minute.
No!
That's
this is why Mocking is just the GOAT, man. This is why. This is why.
Never give
Look,
up.
he's done it. That's a certified Mocking moment. TM.
This is a certified Mocking moment.
I don't know why I've come up with this tonight, but we're gonna stick with it.
Yeah, no, I'm willing to take this to the distance. Honestly, 3 more rounds left until the series is over. By the way, if Northwood continue this pace.
Whoa, toxic. Radford. Come on.
Whoa! Did you hear?
I heard
the end of that sentence.
I did. But come on. Let's be honest. It's 3 rounds.
No. Okay, that was not a kill around the corner. It was Mocking sending it through that initial wall with a wall bang.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Holy crap. I just thought that was somewhere else, I'll be honest. That is ridiculous. What are they doing?
The only logical play at this moment.
I'm glad we didn't get to see that.
Yeah. I'd much rather not. What is happening? Oh god, it's just Lume. Come on, Lume!
That was an anime battle for the ages. Oh, Dip dashes under Lume. Or no, rather, Lume dashes up above Dip as he was dashing forward. That was great. That was fantastic.
I mean, that's a word for it, right?
I'm enjoying myself. Radford, listen, I don't need any disrespect to them because they are, all intents and purposes, a fantastic collegiate Valorant team. This is just Northwood, and they are literally built different. So, what can you do?
I think that's pretty much all you have to say. We're talking tier 2 pros filling this roster, right? So this is just the cream of the crop in terms of that grassroots Valorant skill and then being brought into collegiate, which I think is a great idea, having some fantastic talent making its way to collegiate, kind of bolstering the scene, giving these players who may not have an organization to call home after the Riot partnership, give them a place to hone their skills and, get an education at the same time. A beautiful thing that we could see through these collegiate esports programs.
Well, and Riot doing a good job of supporting that via CVAL and everything else. So, big fan. You know what else I'm a big fan of? Extra Life. You can help change kids' health, change the future. Join them over there. extralife.org, extralife.org to learn more information.
Big shout out to all the sponsors here at today's study for making this possible. And Dip doing some observing of their own. Looking at that recon dart, but big lockdown, no one there to take it. But this is a great read by Radford, right?
Yeah. Oh, I like this. Okay, I like it a little less.
Night, night.
Okay.
Spike
We're
down
good.
B.
Ali gonna actually win that out though. Lume losing in that moment. Yeah, Radford, they chose the right decision. With the spike down,
Already out.
Northwood gonna have to pay for their overzealousness.
Bring them down.
It's what should be going on, but now they've got Dip in the back line, creating a bit of hope for the most outrageous play brought to you courtesy of Northwood University. And Dip has done it again.
30 seconds
I
left.
absolutely love that smoke as well. That's such a troll smoke from Ali. Putting it in such a way that it looks like we're going to go for the spike. Then not doing it, then throwing another smoke and getting the spike. It's great.
One enemy remaining.
Quality trolling from the controller.
That's actually what
Controlling?
10 seconds
troll
left.
is. Yeah, that you can't spell controller without troll.
Ah, yes. Plan today. You would think that means all the
planted.
players are there. Nope, that's not the case.
Yeah, Benji waiting until 4 seconds left on the clock to actually make that commitment to the plant. Beautiful stuff. Come on now! This is just bullying against Tenati, right? So, big potential for a kill. Multiple injured players, but it won't be the case. Map and series point here for Northwood University. One more to close
Match
things
point.
out to nothing.
Excited, very excited to see if this will be ended here, or if we can see Radford bring something back. Put some respect on their name and force Northwood to eat some humble pie once in a while.
It's necessary. The just desserts. Radford start things off, having this place above 0 point. Good for information until there is an immediate death. Then you plan an anti-flash, I suppose. But now Lume, not taking any of this nonsense, cutting down the attackers.
Nonsense? What nonsense?
Break the window, break the utility. Only simple in the magazine, but they need even less. Looking at a potential mocking moment. Well, it's just beginning.
I appreciate that you've just adopted this and gone with it the whole time without question.
Revealing area.
Oh, recon.
Nothing in this series has made too much sense to me, or at least since we got onto Ascent. So I'm very much for it.
This is difficult. If there's anything to do it, it's mocking. Shu, though, hits the heady. And indeed, Northwood gonna have to eat some humble pie, at least for now.
Good work, good control of the scene back on A. Not allowing the plans or the rounds that have previously taken place to affect them. And when it comes to a strong showing, we can see that Radford may still have what it takes to be able to stop a very forceful push coming out from Northwood.
About there.
Well, all the riflery ready for Radford. We do have a Nightfall, and Ult Command as well. So, not doing fighting. Gonna take the duel and who needs to see players? I don't need to see players.
No, certainly not. Not when you're on the
You will not kill
on this
my
level.
ally.
Mocking back in action thanks to a res from Darkest. Ali hanging out in logs. Does catch sight of the KO. It's shattered. A very difficult player to deal with, but when you got some help like Darkest, it becomes a lot easier. And there you have it. Northwood University taking the series 2-0, even lessening or widening the gap in terms of that victory loss against Radford just by 1, but still it feels like with the plays they had, it should have been greater. Regardless, a good showing from either squad, but Northwood will be walking away with the dub.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing everything right. This Northwood team. Radford, I gotta say, big respect, massive respect for the work that they clearly have put into their game. It's just unfortunate that they ran up against such a dominant force. But you know what? Props to them. They played well. Just Northwood playing a little bit better. This play for mocking, that might be the certified mocking moment of the day. What do you think?
I think that's the Nace Star League official mocking moment.
And who knows if we have the actual ability to make that a real thing? I don't know, but it's a thing now.
Great. Amazing.
Thumbs up.
Well, we'll be right back with an interview with someone from Northwood Esports. So don't go anywhere. Nate Starling returns right after this.
We're not.
Oh wait, no. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm so mistaken. I'm so mistaken. I've gotten up. I've gotten a mistake. My fault, folks. We're actually bringing in the director of Northwood Esports program, coming in just a few moments in. I definitely want to learn about the process behind this, because we were just talking about how important the Legion program that is behind you and gives you that support and really develops amazing talent across all titles. I mean, Northwood competes in multiple here in the NACE Star League. I believe it is Overwatch, Call of Duty, Valorant, everything. Honestly, everything that we have to offer, Northwood is here.
Yeah, they're in Rocket League, Overwatch, Valorant, Counter-Strike. I think it's pretty much everything. I don't know if they are in Smash, but this is the only one I have no clue about. Either way, I too am very excited to have that conversation. Should be coming up soon, TM. But with that being said, I think to talk about individuals here, I think that we do have to talk a little bit about Shattered. I think Shattered had some really big moments. And unfortunately, it was just overshadowed by the general one-sidedness of the game. But I thought Shattered played pretty well, all things considered. I don't know what your thinking was, but that definitely was a standout player.
No, absolutely. I do have to say that Shattered was coming up big, but it is difficult to highlight those moments when there was just an overwhelming offensive force or destructive force coming out from Northwood. So, you do see those major moments, and it almost feels just played out. It doesn't feel like it has that much of an impact because of, not to say that the level of ridiculous executes that were being brought by Northwood kind of lower the impact or lower the excitement, but actually no, that is exactly what I'm saying. That is true. Just the ridiculous plays that they brought, it feels like it wasn't as impressive. But this is such an impressive squad from Northwood that those kills from Shattered are incredible.
Yeah, I mean, like even so, despite some of the trolling, I think you have to be aware of the fact that we saw some good things from Redford. The other thing to talk about though is the fact that there's no weak link, it feels like, on this Northwood roster. I sent a message to Benji just kind of asking for some information out of the gate, and something that he said that I'll share here was that essentially there's nobody who is a weak link at all. Literally anyone can pop off, and I hope that in that game. Which definitely is something that not all of these teams have. And well, we are ready for our interview. Hello and welcome, Evolve or Cody, to Northwood. Talk to me about this program because they are fantastic.
We kind of have a little bit of a different philosophy. I have a background in like the tier 2 / professional scene over the years, and like the org side, and I try to give opportunities to players that are pursuing that pro path but aren't quite there, and so they have that education as a backup, and that's what we really focused on over the last 4 years. And I mean, that's why we have a lot of talented players, if I'm being honest, is we're recruiting specific players that have a certain goal that they're trying to achieve, and it's really paid off for us.
Without a doubt, I mean, Northwood has been a force in the NACE Star League across all of our different titles. How do you go about, I suppose, in your recruitment process?
I actually rely a lot on coaches and managers in the tier 2 to kind of learn what players are on the rise in those scenes, and we go from there contacting them. But we do have quite a bit of players that we develop as well. We have 121 players in our varsity team right now across 16 different titles. So it's a pretty extensive process of recruiting. To be honest with you, we'll take anybody that is going to listen and willing to get better and has the drive to improve. That's the nice thing about, esports and gaming is, it might take you a year or two of picking up a new game and grinding it, but, you can get there. It doesn't matter if you don't have to be 7 feet tall to be a center in basketball, right? Anybody can really pick this up and, try to do something with it.
Well, I want to kind of dig a little deeper in that because your recruiting game is absolutely fantastic. I mean, you picked up a Counter-Strike roster over the past summer, a very good roster at that. Obviously, over the summer, y'all's Rocket League team won the Sierra Worlds tournament. I mean, a huge win. I was there, and I got to see some of that. Very impressive, and has been very impressive thus far. How do you move from just getting into a game like you have just now with Counter-Strike and into then winning a world championship like you've done now with Rocket League? How does that work? How do you get from point A to point B?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, it's kind of like accumulating talent, if you will, and then seeing if it meshes and blends together. Sometimes the following year you got to add a couple pieces or two to really round things out. Counter Strike going to be really good. I would say test for us on how quickly we can identify talent to instantly contend. Right, so it's a fresh roster this semester, and we're excited to see what they can do. They've been playing out of their minds so far. But again, it's honestly, it's accumulating talent, listening to the needs that they have. Our biggest thing is for Valorant, we're just starting to really get into our season with terms of reps and stuff. We really pay attention to burnout. So especially at the start of a semester in a school year, getting them into, we're halfway through the semester, getting them into their, focusing on school versus, playing with their tier 2 teams, playing with us, practicing and all that, just finding a balance. And right now, this is probably the first week you're really seeing us put the pedal to the metal. You probably kind of saw that with their gameplay. We're playing a lot better as a team compared to earlier in the semester. That's for sure.
Well, definitely shows some improvement. And what we'd like to ask teams is, how do you expect this season to go? What are your main goals? But obviously, that's always going to be to win. What is the goal of a director of a program?
I mean, my goal obviously want to win, right? It's important to the students. It's important to the school. But as long as we're contending and, it's always a battle at Northwood, not troll and really putting our best foot forward. I'm happy, and that's my goal. And then obviously, doing that, maintaining a high academic standard is great. The one thing that we don't really talk a whole lot about, but our world championship roster for Rocket League, headed near 4.0 GPA across the board.
Wow.
And it's just, they really focus on, school as well. And they don't get a lot of credit or shine on that because everybody's looking at, their accolades, in the esport titles. But a lot of them are doing internships with Fortune 500 companies, and working and balancing everything and doing a great job. So, yeah, I mean, I really want to set people up for careers. That's my goal, right? Whether that's a professional career in esports or whether that's you're getting a degree here while, representing the school, then you go off to be an accountant or, a cybersecurity specialist, whatever it might be. I'm just that middleman trying to get you to where you want to be,
Yeah. Well, Cody, I feel like we tend to ask players about people they want to shout out. I think it would be relevant to change things up. Who behind the scenes in your program doesn't get the spotlight and you think deserves the spotlight that really helps your team succeed? I want you to shout them out.
Yeah, by far our team managers and coordinators. Ryan Seebeck, Rocket League manager, he does so much with scheduling and managing different rosters. We have close to 20 Rocket League players at Northwood across all different divisions we have. Aiden Frosch, our Overwatch manager, and also does operations and broadcasting. Evan Guavia, who does Call of Duty management, casting, and all that stuff. Those are the guys that are really, really driving this. I could do this without them 100%, right? There's just no shot I could do this with the students. Right now it's just me and another full-time person with 121 students, so the student workers are massive, and I'm glad that our school is able to provide paid opportunities for people to work while attending the school. I'm grateful for that. But yeah, there's so many more other people: Clay Taylor, Jeffrey Tomzak, Tyler Tidwell. There's a ton of them, and Tyler and Jeff are both on our Valorant roster, but they also do so much more for the team.
Awesome. I'd love to hear that. It's cool to get to hear some of those individuals that don't always get all the credit, but are definitely there helping all the cogs turn. Well, thank you so much, Cody, for taking the time. We appreciate you hopping on here and giving us the insight into what is a fantastic Northwood program.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.
Alrighty. Well, if we move along, Los, I stole your outro there, so I'll hand it back to you. I apologize. I'm used to the other shows. So that's on me.
we're a team, Vincent. It's okay. I may be sitting in your seat right now, but that's fine. You took it beautifully. But although we're done with Valorant here tonight, that does not mean all the Naystar League action is done for the week, as we have a beautiful schedule of games ahead. Not just today, tomorrow, Friday. It's gotta be Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on Thursday, and Counter-Strike, the familiar face, the Vincent Cast on Counter-Strike. He'll be back. You better check it out here at twitch.tv/StarLeague. Make sure you check that out. But also, we want to give a special shout out to all our sponsors here that help the Naystar League exist and give these great opportunities for all the players. It's Extra Life, Corsair, Monster, BetterHelp, Duncan, and Mavix. Thanks you all so much for giving us the chance and opportunity to watch these teams play.
Yeah, appreciate all of them. It's all a whole lot of fun, but like you said, Los, it's time for us to get going. Have a great evening. We'll see you next time. See you tomorrow. Same time, same place for Smash.